Calling to order Town of Arlington Redevelopment Board meeting on Monday, February 2nd at 7 p.m. I'm going to call roll call of all the board members, starting with Rachel.
Rachel Zemberry.
Shannon.
Shana Corman Houston.
Eugene Benson.
Steve Revelak.
And Ken Lau. And we have us here with Claire from the department.
Thank you.
Yes.
No, no one from the department.
Okay. The first item on our agenda is administrative, review the minutes of January the 2nd. Are there any changes, starting with Steve?
None.
Jean?
No changes.
Shana?
None.
Rachel?
No changes.
I am none too. Do you have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Steve?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Shana?
Yes.
Rachel?
Yes.
I'm a yes too. All right, on to agenda number 2, comprehensive plan update. Claire, do you want to update us here?
Sure, I'd love to. So tonight, I am providing an update on where we are in the comprehensive planning process. I last presented to the board in October when we were preparing for our next major public meeting to review draft strategies, plan strategies with the community. Since then, that meeting has taken place and we've received additional community input both from that meeting and in follow-up surveys. I'll walk you through what we've done, what we've learned, and what's left to complete the plan. All right, so this is the project timeline overview. We are here. Using data from public outreach, we have drafted a vision statement, topic area goals, draft strategies to achieve those goals, and we've also written an existing conditions report. Stantec is now preparing a draft plan document. The draft will be presented to the public, we hope, early next month. So what have we done? We've maintained a robust project website and conducted several community surveys, both from the website and on paper. We've held multiple in-person outreach events, some examples which you could see here. We've met with several town committees, including the Arlington Bike Committee, Transportation Advisory Committee, and the Tree Committee. We have conducted focus groups to gather more detailed input, and what we learned is that inviting people who are actively doing the work across the planned topic areas was often more productive than meeting with the committees separately. So the focus groups we held helped us explore key questions, including what issues or topics do you hear about most frequently, and what issues will be most important for the town to consider in the coming years. This topic-specific input supports core elements of the comprehensive plan, like the goals and strategies. And the AMP-UP committee met with several topic area focus groups to gather more detailed input from those working directly on these issues. Here's some highlights for the existing conditions. Arlington has fewer jobs than employed residents. 25% of residents work from home, which is a 400% increase from 2010. Over half of Arlington's working residents commute over 30 minutes. 14% commute via public transportation. 6% walk or bike to work. Over the past decade, the number of housing units permitted annually has trended downward, and work from home levels have remained relatively high since the pandemic. This is a draft vision that continues to be workshopped by the advisory committee. Arlington will be a welcoming place with attainable housing options, flourishing business districts, and a strong sense of community. The final vision language is to be discussed and finalized by the AMP-UP committee, and that is expected very soon. We are still working out final language in the vision statement. So Stantec also workshopped draft goals and strategies for each topic area with the advisory committee. And the key areas that are most relevant to this board include land use, housing, and economic development, although there's also transportation, open space, historic and cultural resources, and public facility topic areas as well. I just thought these would be the most interesting to you all. So I've highlighted a few example goals and strategies from these areas. So for land use, we have encourage development that enhances Arlington's natural resources, built environment, and sustainability. Attract development that supports and expands the economic, cultural, and civic vibrancies of Arlington's commercial areas. For housing, A couple of the goals provide a variety of housing options for a range of incomes, ages, family sizes, and needs, encourage sustainable new construction and renovation of existing structures. For economic development, we have improved regulatory processes to benefit small independent businesses. A few others: increase the build-out potential and value of commercial industrial properties, improve the customer experience through streetscape improvements, wayfinding, parking, and access upgrade, and a few more. So here are some of the draft strategies that the AMP-UP committee is discussing right now, and there's a couple related to land use, which include conduct a strategic assessment of commercial corridors to encourage redevelopment at 3 to 6 story permitted heights allowed by zoning, encourage more trail-oriented development along the Minuteman Bikeway, west of Mystic Street, or perhaps not. That's still part of the draft discussion, with a focus on attracting commercial and industrial type uses compatible with multifamily. Continue to consolidate zoning districts to make the town's zoning bylaw more accessible while still balancing community needs and desires. So those are some strategies associated. Housing, build support to amend the zoning bylaw to allow for a range of housing types in a variety of locations throughout the town, particularly missing middle housing. Study the economics of the town's affordable housing requirement for projects over 6 units to determine whether the percentage required, which is 15% currently, or the affordability level, up to 60% AMI, should be changed to create more housing and or increase the range of affordability. Another housing strategy: revise the zoning bylaw regulations to encourage creativity with infill development conditions and allow flexibility regarding irregular lots, minimum lot size, minimum lot frontage, and other dimensional regulations. And finally, some draft strategies as they relate to economic development: create a one-stop permitting guide, an online process structured around business type and the typical permits and forms required for each type in conjunction with townwide effort to integrate all licenses into an online permitting platform. Again, review the zoning bylaw use definitions to consolidate into more flexible categories for increasingly diversifying business models, and develop and implement comprehensive signage, wayfinding, and branding strategies for each business district and across town. Questions of equity, sustainability, and resilience, those will be directly answered in the plan document, with call-outs for each to be included in the plan sections that will really speak to how exactly we are implementing equity considerations in some of these strategies, and certainly with the goals, and how are we best applying sustainability and resilience measures while we are also pursuing these goals and strategies. So what's left to do? Plan writing, the AMP-UP committee to review and comment. We need a letter from the committee to be written, and potentially case studies, which could also be provided by the committee for each plan topic area. Stantec will complete the draft plan. The draft will be reviewed by DPCD and the advisory committee, and then we'll have a public meeting to present that draft plan in February, late February, early March. I think it's early March at this point that we're looking at. Any edits that then we will hold a draft plan open house for more public feedback. Any edits that arise from committee comment and review, as well as public input from that draft presentation, will be incorporated into the draft plan document by Stantec. They will revise the document based on comments. The idea is to have a final draft to present to the ARB in April. All right, any questions?
Steve?
None, no questions.
Jean?
None.
Shannon?
None.
Rachel?
I have a couple questions. One is it, I didn't see the deck as part of our pre-read. Is this something you could send so that we can provide
Absolutely.
any feedback?
Yes,
afterwards?
absolutely.
Great. And then it's more of a timeline comment. I think it would be a good idea for the draft plan to come to the redevelopment board in its initial draft format before it has its first public meeting. I think that was one of the things that the redevelopment board had identified that we wanted to make sure is that we saw something in an early form and had an opportunity to provide feedback before it was fully realized and our engagement with Stantec is complete. So I don't know how that plays into the timeline, but I think it would be great if you and Ken were able to take a look at our upcoming meeting agendas and we could
Find a time.
find a time
Sure.
before the first public meeting.
Sure, that's a great idea.
Great.
Yeah.
I have a couple of quick questions. When you're doing the survey, you're saying that the housing housing production has gone down.
Yes.
But what about the requirement for housing? Has that gone up?
No, it hasn't necessarily gone up. I think that this is true of most communities in Eastern Mass and probably across the Commonwealth, is that housing production generally has slowed over the last 10 to 15 years.
Okay. And then, as far as population density, Arlington is less dense now than before. Like
That's
in the
my
70s, it was much more dense, more people living here, and now we're, 25, 26. There's less people living here now. Are there less demand for families and schools? Has that requirement has gone down, or is it projected to go up?
Oh, that's an interesting question, Ken. I would have to go and do some studying on that to get you the answers. But it's my understanding that the school committee that the schools are planning for a dip in population over the next few years. But, I would have to verify that with them.
Okay, so I think I did remember talking to them briefly when we were doing the MBTA overlay, and they said that enrollment has reached this peak and is projected to go down in the next few years. So there was plenty of supply in our existing school system. But but that was, a couple of years back. I just want to see, is that still the same feeling?
Yeah, I'm happy to talk to the superintendent and see what she has to
Because
say.
I think those numbers will affect a little bit how you guys are considering
Yeah.
some of your strategies here. But overall, I think it's a good job.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we do comments on this public or no? Okay. Thank you for that. And now we're off to agenda hearing number 3. Public hearing for docket number 3869, 1513 to 1519 Mass Ave. Special permit hearing continued from January 26th. Will the proponents please come up and sit down? Could you? Oh, thank you. Do you want us to put something on the slideshow or something?
Do you have the submission that we?
We do have the drawings
I
that,
think, it'd be great to start with the front elevation and the site plan.
okay.
And I think we're probably primarily going to be talking about those two drawings. Would it be helpful for us to do a general overview or just start with the changes from the last meeting?
If you can just keep it quick, we're in kind of a tight.
That's what I was
So
feeling
if you do
too. Yeah.
very quick overview, and then the changes you made to our comments, and then we'll go to the
Great.
board comments and a public comment.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I was kind of geared for. So thank you for having us today. Starting here with the ground floor plan, I think there were a number of comments that we've addressed, and I want to kind of highlight those. We are still showing 15 parking spaces in the rear of the building, the commercial space at the front and center of the drawing. The bottom of the page is Massachusetts Avenue. The red line around the perimeter is the boundary. You can see where the project more or less fills the property and sits on the front setback line. On the left side of the drawing, starting from left to right, you see the garage entrance. At the very left, you see a small vestibule, which would be the entrance for the retail. It's a covered area that would allow that to have its own kind of address. And then the 900 square foot commercial space in the center of the drawing. And then to the right of that is a second covered entrance zone that leads into the residential lobby. And to the right of that is electrical equipment, a transformer to be specific. Behind the transformer, you see the elevator that leads up to the upper floors and the stair that leads up to the upper floors. And then behind the commercial space, and behind the residential lobby is that parking area. And the upper right corner is the bike parking area. So the bike parking would be adjacent to an handicap accessible space, and both of those directly adjacent to the back door of the residential lobby. The significant changes from the last time are that the drive aisle got a little narrower. That allowed us to bump the commercial space up from 800 to 900 square feet. The two overhang areas, which used to be 10 feet deep, are shown as being 6 feet deep now, so they are a little bit closer in to the sidewalk. I believe that was a concern. Overall, the project has become symmetrical in a way that it wasn't previously. That may be maybe more visible in the elevation, but now the garage door and the transformer doors are meant to be are identical on both the left and the right. And so when we pull up the elevation, you'll see that we have reworked everything on the inside in order to make sure that this is symmetrical from left to right, meaning that the column on the left, the column on the right, which include the garage door and the two units above that, and then the unit that's set back, have an equal width on the right and on the left. The piece down the middle is centered. The recesses in the building have been centered, and we've introduced the signage band to kind of create a heavy line between the first and second floor. The second and third floor are seen as a contiguous volume, and then that fourth floor is set back 7 feet from the front of the building in order to accentuate the three-story cornice line, but also as a way of complying with the zoning requirements. Also, the roof lines, which were a little bit unequal because of the asymmetry previously, have all been cleaned up to be very symmetrical from left to right. And those are the majority of the changes. Everything kind of revolves around those, so I'd like to open up for comments.
Thank you. Claire, sorry, I skipped you. Did you have anything to say?
No, I just, highlights from the staff memo include that the drive aisle has been reduced, as the gentleman said. Updated renderings and revised floor plans have been provided. More design and architectural features to better align with the top floor and the roof line and the lower 3 floors to break up elevations. It looks like they have responded to that. And also they have reviewed the location of the transformer. And I believe in the packet there is a letter from the engineer, an engineering study that says the location of the transformer is appropriate.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes.
We start off with Rachel. Do you have any comments?
Sure. So is this a garage door into the transformer area that you're proposing?
Yes.
Where did
So-
that come from?
So previously, we had anticipated trying to turn the transformer to the left so that it would have a pair of doors not facing the sidewalk. We were proposing that. Based on your comments, we had conversations with our engineers. They were pretty skeptical that the doors to the transformer could be anything but directly facing the front. And since we were working towards making the whole building very symmetrical, it seemed to make sense to make it symmetrical. They also said if you want to be a little bit conservative and make a promise that you absolutely are guaranteed you're going to be able to keep, show the door to the front of this being a garage door so that it can be at least 12 feet, or what was it?
14 feet.
At least 14 feet in space. So I agreed. I said, the group here wants to know exactly what this is going to be. This we know will get approved. Turning it to the side, to the right or the left, that was always going to be something that would be a conversation once we got through planning board approval. But we know this can get approved, and it gets to be symmetrical with the other side, as opposed to the previous design, which showed that as trying to be an opaque wall.
So I had no problem with the opaque wall. It was the finish on the opaque wall that we asked you to look at. I do have a problem with a garage door. We build mid-rise mixed-use buildings like this all the time in Arlington, having to have a garage door to access a transformer is not something that I can get behind. We had asked for you to look at the material on the first floor. I'll see what my colleagues have to say, but I am not in favor of the garage door. And I just had one other comment, and again, I want to give my other colleagues a chance to give feedback. Well, I'll save my other comments on the finishes, but do you have a sample board with you of the changes?
Did we bring it again this time?
I mean, we brought it last time. No one
Well, the brick is new. You didn't have brick before. You had a panel. You had a fiber cement panel.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously can, I'll bring it
So,
to your house, whatever you want.
No, I mean, we need to
Yeah.
just see how this all works together for us to be able to approve it. This is a building that's gonna last a long time in Arlington, and we need to understand what it looks like. Just the other item, and this is, something that's minor because you will go in front of the board for any signage, but you have too many signs on the building. You have one. For the retail space, you have a wall sign, and then you have two signs, one that just says retail and one that says the business name. Just put the business name, get rid of the one that says retail, and you can keep the wall sign inside the alcove. And you don't need a sign that says residences. You have the address, and that's clear that that's the residential piece. So, but I'll see what my colleagues have to say about the first floor.
Shayna?
Thank you. So, regarding the garage door, is this intended, can you tell me about the materials on the door? Are these, glass panels or something transparent?
Yeah,
What is
we're anticipating both of the garage doors being the same, being a probably aluminum with a translucent glass, so that you would see the light or activity moving behind it. But a fairly standard product, maybe with a custom dimension.
Okay. All right. One other question. I appreciate the move towards symmetry. It looks on the Mass Ave elevation like the top floor, the windows sort of between the bays are still a little bit out of alignment on the top floor, and I was not sure if that was just how it was rendered or if that was intentional. The sort of second from the left and second from the right, is that intentional, or is that sort of an optical illusion?
It's an optical illusion. If you flip back to the elevation, the intention is to be purely symmetrical and aligned up and down the facade.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's all.
Gene?
Yep, thank you. I didn't have any problem with the building last time without the garage door, so I'm the same place Rachel is. I don't remember that we asked for symmetry, and if you don't actually need a garage door behind the transformer, in front of the transformer, but could have a wall, that would be my preference. I'm voting again. I think it's a really nice project, but as you know from last time, I'm going to vote against it because of the width of the driveway. So what I say doesn't make a lot of difference, but I agree with Rachel about whether there should be a garage door there or not.
And I could speak a little to that. The majority of our projects have instead of a garage door on their transformer, they have a pair of 4-foot wide doors that are usually painted a black or the surrounding color, and they blend away. That happens on a lot of projects.
That goes to the side, correct? That's not facing
No,
Mass
most
Ave?
of them face the street.
Guys, we have never done that in a project here in Arlington.
Can we, I just want to keep it going, and I don't want this back and forth yet. I'll ask you to comment back on later, but I want to hear everybody's,
I'm finished.
Steve?
So, I recall a discussion about the transformer room last time, and some questions from the board about, the need to provide a door, and some concern about the door being on the side. I thought, I was rather pleased to see the symmetry. I thought the garage door was actually a very creative solution, but, I'm not wedded to it. Overall, I think you've pretty much addressed all of the things that we've asked you to do at the last hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. My comment is thank you for, I think the call for symmetry was not for the whole front elevation, at least that was my comment. It was more for the symmetry on the fourth floor with alignment with the windows and the roof lines. And you did that, and I appreciate that very much. Thank you. I have a couple of questions. One is, the last meeting you submitted a landscaping plan. You did not this time. Is that going to be submitted as part of the package and nothing from landscape?
No changes to the landscape.
Okay, so the trees you had indicated on the front along Mass Ave will still be there?
Yes.
Because right now you don't meet any requirements for street trees. And the landscaping that's on the back facing the bike trail will also be there the way you had described it last time.
Correct.
Okay. But last time I don't believe you submitted a light study.
No, we did.
There was a light study?
Yeah.
Okay, well let us check into that, okay? I just want to see what kind of light you'll be shining on to the bike trail, that's all.
Yeah, we did a full light study last.
There's a
You did?
photometric.
Okay, my apologies. But talking to the transformer, okay, I share the same concerns that Rachel has. When I asked you before, could the transformer be moved to the back? And I'm assuming you guys relied on your engineer, and but they're not the authority saying yes or no. They're just saying from their experience that it would be tough. Well, it'd be very tough for us to approve a corner that's so blatant along Mass Ave for this. I mean, a garage door is necessary and is required to get in, but just putting another one there just so it covers up and makes it symmetrical, I don't think, I'm not really for that. I'd really like to see something else that can be done with the transformer, because when you put a transformer in a building, I don't know, I'm not. Did your engineer say that that room becomes a transformer vault? Because it's not an alcove anymore; it's totally enclosed. So it's. I'm not sure that's going to happen, because a transformer vault is anywhere from 3 to 4 hour rated wall separations.
3 hours, yes.
When you have the garage door there, how do you get that separation for the floor above it?
You don't actually need to rate the garage door, because that is facing a 30-foot, it's 30 feet, 30-foot roadway.
Yes, but you have an opening in a wall, and you have an opening above, and it's less than, I believe, whatever the distance is, 4 or 6 feet, in order to claim that it's out to the outside wall. I don't think you have that. You have a window just right above it.
Understood.
These are things you're going to have to address, even if we approve that with the.
Understood.
Okay. But also, did you change your siding material on the second and third floor?
So the last floor, instead of doing the wooden shiplap, we decided to go with the black board and batten.
So it's the same shiplap.
Same as the rest of the building, second and third, just in black, to give it more contrast, to match the black brick on the bottom. So it became more modern looking building rather than.
So
And just to keep the symmetry going.
the siding is shiplap, not vertical siding.
No, it was shiplap. They changed it to the vertical.
The last floor was shiplap.
On the fourth floor.
On the
Okay.
Horizontal, now it's vertical.
Now it's gonna be board and batten in black instead of in
He
wood
just
color.
said board and batten.
Which is vertical.
Yeah. So the
Right,
top
it was
floor went
horizontal.
from being horizontal to being vertical.
Okay.
Try and
The
make
only,
it more.
the only materials that remain the same as was the fourth floor are the ones inside the balconies, to give it a little texture change.
All right, well, these are our questions so far. I'm going to see what the,
So, can we go back to the discussion of the transformer or the?
well, let us see what the public has to say, and then when we go back to our debate, we can discuss that a little bit more, okay? Is there anybody in public that wants to speak on
Actually,
this project?
Could I ask one more question that I forgot to
Sure,
ask
yeah.
previously? On the rear elevation, there's a note that says opening to the bike room, and it doesn't appear to be a door. It appears to just be an opening. Is the bike room secure and weatherproof from all sides, or is that sort of open to the air?
Like the garage, it is open to the air.
Okay, I think the bike room needs to be actually a weatherproof bike room. I think that needs to be a enclosed area with a door. If one of my colleagues could,
We're gonna have like the enclosed storage lights.
okay,
So I think we talked about it even first in the second meeting,
Okay.
because someone brought that up as well.
yep, all right, just so long as it is enclosed.
Yeah, like the actual units are gonna be enclosed.
Great, all right, that's all.
All right, any
Thanks.
comments from the public, please raise your hand. I'm going to limit your comments to 3 minutes, and do you mind making some room so the public can come speak at the microphone, so anybody hearing from... No.
No, you need to go.
You need to go there if you want to speak, because people that's listening from home and whatever need to hear the total public, okay? I'm just trying to be fair to everybody here, okay? Please state your name and address, and keep this at 3 minutes.
Okay, my name is Eleanor Charlton, and I live in East Arlington on Everett Street. So I'm kind of new to this one. I didn't look at the plan. Somebody just remind me what the address is of this, where it's located.
This is
1513 to 1519.
Got it, okay.
South.
It has no basement, is that right? And for the transformer room, will you need a curb cut to get to that garage door? And my last question was, actually, I was looking at the...
Please address your questions to the board, and we will then take your
Okay,
questions to
so my one functional question was looking at the residence entrance lobby. And it looked to me like you come in and there's this kind of bottleneck, and then it opens up again to where the elevator is. And just from a safety point of view, that seemed to me a difficult place. Can we see the floor plan? And so that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Anybody else who wishes to make a comment on this project? Seeing no one, I'm close public comment, and we turn this back to the board. Thank you. Yes, please, thank you. Come back to the... Are there any more comments or questions for the proponent, and things you want to discuss amongst yourselves? Steve?
Well, I happen to be fine with what they've submitted. It sounds like a few of my colleagues would like to see some changes, and I just want to make sure that at the end of the discussion, the applicants have clarity on what we're asking them to do, and so they could, go ahead and do it and reappear.
Thank you,
If
Steve.
that's the way things go.
Gene?
Yes, I agree with Steve. I think they've been here many, many times for this, and I think we deserve to have a vote on this tonight. And if the vote is to approve it switching out the garage door for something else, we should say what that is and make that subject to administrative approval. So that would be my suggestion. And again, I don't think the second garage door in front of the transformer is a particularly good idea, and I would go back to the way they had it before, with maybe some sort of slightly different look to the outside, as Rachel had suggested, and that we take a vote.
Thank you, Gene. Shanna?
I also do not love the garage door. I think Jean's idea of if that's the only thing holding them up, returning to their previous plan and giving administrative approval is worth conversation.
Thank you. Rachel?
So I certainly would not be able to approve it with the garage door, especially a garage door that you can see into a transformer room. I have a problem with either the double doors or the garage door facing the street. I really do question the engineer that you have on this project and the advice that you're getting. So I would have a hard time approving the project until we resolve the corner, because I think it's important. I also would want to see the upper floor go back to the horizontal shiplap siding. I am not in favor of the change to the vertical siding.
Okay. To answer your first question, Gene, I think what seems like they've been here a lot is they've submitted 2 projects to us. One time where they submitted something we were about to approve on, and they withdrew their project and resubmitted this project because of the rezoning. So that's why it may seem long. But yes, they have been here quite a few times, and they have listened to us, and I appreciate that very much, and thank you for that. And you guys have been patient. I would be okay with making a choice here on making an administrative approval here, but under strict adherence to certain things. One I would like to say is, I would say that you would submit this with the transformer room in the back corner to the public agency and see what they say. Okay? Because I think that it'll make it a better project for you guys, period, and explain to them that they have access to the transformer from the bike path. They've done that before. They've done transformers in the back of people's backyards. So I would ask for you guys to submit it to the power company and see if they will accept that, or accept the fact that you can get at it from the side. You have a setback there and a little something there that they maybe get back, because it's not only your setback, but also on the projects adjacent to your setback they can't build on. So that should give them enough room for I'm not sure, I'm not an engineer, so I'm just saying let's push that a little further before I'm willing to say, okay, the transformer has to be in a corner. Because everybody's going to see that on the way out of Arlington into Arlington. You're right at the entry of Mass Ave, more or less. So that's my thought. And then I think Gene brought up a question about the driveway, and we had talked last time about having some sort of annunciator system there, where if something's coming out, you would announce that, and you'd hold off, and vice versa, in and out. So that might help with that driveway there. It also would help too. Now you have a garage door there. They're going to have to stop. They can't just drive right in. So they're going to have to pause to make sure that no one's coming out, or when they going out, they're going to have to pause for it to open before they can drive through. So I think I'm comfortable with that, with the driveway. And I'm with Rachel. I think you're changing with the vertical siding upper floor. I would like to go with a more horizontal on the upper floor. You can still use the same material, just make it horizontal. It just gives it more, a little more there. And at one time you had more articulation around your windows to give it a little more depth at some of your other projects. What happened to that? That just sort of went away?
Yeah, it was, that, I can speak to that, was actually the early building. When we went over to this building, we felt it worked a little better to be cleaner than to have the big borders on the windows.
It was the 5-unit project.
That was the 5-unit project, so.
And it did get approved by you for this board.
Yes, we liked it.
Liked it better.
That's why I'm
we could
mentioning it now.
we could certainly reintroduce that. We can introduce a handful of other things, like you said, with the garage door. We feel that announces the space, but if it's going to be contingent on there being an alarm, just tell us and we'll put it on there. We're happy to. We're trying to show you that we want to work with you to do these things.
No, you have, and that's why we're considering administrative approval here for you right now, because of the fact that you guys have been so good at that. I know your drawings, to answer a question here that was earlier, your plans don't show a curb cut in front of the transformer room, but your renderings do. That's just, I'm assuming that's just drawing, right?
I think that's the leftover rendering,
Okay.
but I'm not sure.
So, but there is no
There would be none.
no curb cut there, no additional
The
curb cut.
reality is they would only need to service to remove that transformer about once every 10 years.
And, okay.
But they
So,
need a big door to do it.
does anybody want to make a motion or, for a vote here?
Are we allowed to make any comments on the transformer?
Yes.
So why we put the quote-unquote garage door there was because that's the only thing that our engineer said that this is 100% National Grid's going to approve. Everything else is like what you said, Ken, we have to go through the process and see what they're going to approve. That's why before on the side of the door, when you made that suggestion that we're going to need to vent it, it did say that we most likely won't have to vent it, but we will need to have this door. And we thought that putting this door in the front, it would serve two purposes. It would give it that symmetry that we were all looking for, and it would, obviously now this is 100%, no matter what they're going to say, they're going to approve this. And that was kind of the comments that we thought that we heard from you, is that, you wanted to see something that was going to, if you guys are going to approve it, this is what's going to get approved by National Grid. So that's why we made our best effort to be 100% like, hey, this is definitely going to go. Obviously, it's in our best interest if they do approve a side door or approve us to have it in the back, to your point. We would love that too, but we don't know until we submit it.
It's just the nature of how you program this building. You have pushed the building to its limit. So there is no side yard, no front yard. There's nothing where you can put a transformer but in the building. So that's why we're in this discussion here, okay? So, and I appreciate that.
I don't know if they live in Arlington. I can definitely drive by and take some pictures, but these buildings do live in Boston with transformers in front. It's just we don't notice them because, like, to Eric's point, a lot of times they put doors, they don't even have handles, they just put them and then they paint them to the same siding and they make it look like the siding. But these are very common, especially buildings that are on the street. I'm more than happy to show you guys some pictures. I can email them to you, but this is pretty common.
Another comment around the door, even though it's glass, it's 100, basically all you get is light. You don't see what's inside.
And we can tint those glass panels black, so you're not gonna see anything from the outside. It just be light
Okay,
from
I think we're good right now, okay, as far as, does anybody else on the board want to say something or make a motion?
I'd just like to say, I don't think we should ask them to move the transformer. they've told us this is where it works. They've told us this is where the engineer says it works, where the grid says it works. And if they come up with something other than a garage door that's appropriate, then it's okay to me to have the transformer where it is.
Okay. I'm okay with that, that philosophy too, but I'm not okay with the garage door right now, that's all.
I mean, we could put the double
Just,
doors.
no, we're just talking amongst ourselves now, okay?
I'm sorry,
it's
you
not-
look at me, I should direct them to you.
No, I'm just looking that way because that's the way.
No problem.
I don't know what two double doors would look like that are,
It'll look like basically an access panel into the corner of the building. It's not what we want to see on the front of the building.
Yeah, I would not be okay with double doors facing out onto the street. Double doors facing out onto the alleyway would be okay, you know. You'll be able to see them from the street, but it wouldn't be the end of the world.
I think that would be the same issues if the power company decides, says, access from there is from someone else's property.
right,
I'm-
right.
That, we're not gonna allow you to do that. It has to be
Right.
from public property onto your property. I believe that's what they're gonna say, so if we approve the side door, and then all of a sudden they come back and say, oh, no, the utility company will not allow the use of the side door. My general consensus right now is 3-2 with the garage door. Is that, am I polling sort of incorrect here, or do we have another alternative suggestion for them to put something else there in lieu of the garage door?
Well, I thought they put something last time that we thought was okay, except it just needed a little more.
They had an entrance from the side last time.
From the hallway, and they just had a blank block wall there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we just said that was, you know, not really livening up the street there, and it's right on the street. That's what I believe you guys said the last time, right? I'm asking you a question now.
Yes,
Yes?
the entrance was from the side, but when we went back to talk to the engineer, mostly focusing about venting, when they looked at the design, they said, we can't guarantee that the National Grid will be okay that you coming from the side looping in to enter the alcove. They might not have enough room to maneuver when they're moving equipment in and out. They said the front is the cleanest, simplest. In terms of what door to use, we can use 2 glass double doors, fully tinted. The options are there. It's more about does the board want to see.
Rachel, were you thinking about some removal lattice or something like that, or?
What's that?
2 glass doors tinted that looked like storefront might not be the worst.
Removable lattice?
I think to Jean's point, they've pushed this property past what it comfortably can hold by the fact that they need to run through these gymnastics to put this transformer in here. So again, if we can't come up with an entrance from the side or from the rear, then I'm going to be a no.
Okay. Gene, you're not for this project anyways already, right? You already stated that, right?
Well, I like the project, but as I stated last time, I can't vote for it because the drive aisle is only 12 feet wide, and that's not what the zoning bylaw says. I actually did a little research to see if 2 cars could pass by each other there, and they pretty much can't. The average width of an American vehicle is somewhere between 5.5 and 6 feet, not counting the mirrors that stick out. So you really can't have cars go in and out at the same time. So, you know, as I stated last time, I can't vote for it with only a 12-foot driveway.
Shannon? Shannon, sorry.
Well, if Rachel and Jean are, if neither Rachel nor Jean are going to be able to vote for it, then I think it doesn't actually matter what I think, and they need to go find another solution, be it to shrink the width of the building or to talk to the utility company and see what the utility company says, or do a overhang, a bump in, or I don't know what, but if there are, yeah.
Gene, do you want to still push for a vote today, or you want to vote for a motion for a continuance?
It sounds like it's going to get continued if they want to take another chance to come back with a different proposal. If not, we have to vote it down. So it's really up to them.
I just have a simple question. In terms of, if we withdraw from this, are we still good with that other project that you guys approved?
Yes,
Okay.
that's still an
'Cause
active
I just
special
want to,
permit.
like, again, remind the board, the reason why we went back to this project was because, the board echoed that they wanted affordability, that you guys, it was a shame that you guys didn't want that we could have built this big building, you guys are rezoning. So, I mean, we genuinely put in so much time and effort onto getting this, to bring affordability to Arlington, to provide more housing. I understand all these suggestions to shrinking the building. I wish that these were the comments that we had the first time we came, because then, we could have been here already with a final product, but it just seems like every single time we're here, the board picks up something new, which is fine. I get it. This is the process of us as a community putting something together. Again, this is my personal opinion. The two garage doors really look symmetrical, and if you don't have a curb cut there, and if you have tinted windows, I just feel like that's gonna look the best from, I even drove by that, I forgot the name of, the new big development on Mass Ave, where they have, yes, where they have the similar garage door. They have a bunch of windows all in the front, all symmetrical. I can't tell you which one is the commercial spot, or which one, if there's a transformer there, or if there's a mail room. It all looks symmetrical, and it's all windows with a big garage door, very similar to ours. They also have the brick on the bottom, just like ours. So, I mean, I personally feel like this would fit very, very well on the street. To kill this project over the transformer garage door, we can't financially keep, we're 2 years already into this. I could have already been done with that original project and moved on. We want to do the best possible. That's what we're all striving. But at a certain point, to keep making these changes, I just feel like it's not serving the community, it's not serving this project well. If you guys can give us a clear direction of exactly what you guys want to see, I will do it. It's just every single time, it's just everyone has an opinion, and I appreciate that. And we're trying our best to kind of accommodate everyone's. But the whole idea of this transformer room, even from the beginning, was that it's not on us, it's really on the national grid, and it's, unfortunately, that's how development, and we can't get a straight answer for them until we apply, until we submit the application. If we can somehow put the transformer in the back, everyone's telling us it's not possible.
Well, right now, okay, we have one vote that's a no because of the driveway width. And we have 3 votes because it's the garage door at the corner there, okay?
I'm fine with, you had suggested making a motion that was contingent upon their ability to put the doors on the side or move the transformer room to the back. If they cannot, then they can come back to us and we can come up with a solution. But again, I think the preference is for the doors to be on the side or the transformer room to be in the rear of the building.
Okay, so someone want to make a motion for this? I will take-
Just a quick one. We're not gonna get that answer until we submit to National Grid. That's the only problem.
That's what we said.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Then we would submit and.
Oh, I got
So
Bring
it.
an
you
answer
down
back
the
then.
line, come back, not.
If it doesn't
If we
work,
get
you come back to us and we'll talk
We'll,
about.
we'll find a solution.
Yeah.
This is not the solution. It's new that it's on the front today.
I
That
know.
was never on their before.
This is-
So
this is the
again,
only solution
so
that
again,
they
it's
said
not that we're
100%.
giving you new information, we're reacting to new information that you're bringing today, which is fine, we want to find a way to work with you. But I think, again, if we make a motion, can I suggest a motion?
Yes?
We make a motion to approve the plan with the following special conditions, that the transformer is accessed through the side of the building if it remains in the current location, or is moved to the rear corner of the building if approvable by National Grid,
Or Eversource.
or by the utility provider. Thank you, Jean. If not feasible, then return to the board to, then we'll reopen the special permit to align on an acceptable solution. The second special condition would be to go back to the shiplap on the upper story, to add an enunciation system for entering and exiting the driveway, and to ensure that there are no horizontal, which is something we talked about before, that there are no horizontal penetrations for venting on the vertical walls. All venting goes through the roof.
And you're also gonna include the original, not original plan, but the a landscaping plan that was not submitted with this project here, and the lighting plan that's also not submitted with this one here, that was submitted on an earlier project, that is still not changed.
Question.
Yes?
When you say side doors, is there a specific side door you're looking for? Is it just
Well,
garage, not the
why don't we
front?
start off with this? You're gonna try to locate that transformer in the back. And if the electric company says, no, we're not gonna let you do this, after you push a little bit, okay? I'm hoping you guys are gonna push a little bit and say, hey.
Sure, happy to.
Okay? Then I want you to come back to us and say, they said no. Can you work with us? And we said, we will work with you to come up with something that's mutually agreeable in that corner. And Richard said, it could be a side door, it could be a panel, or Gene said maybe it was what it was before. But we'll work with you on that, but we're not gonna try to kill your project on that thing, but we're trying to work with you, okay?
That's fine.
All right,
We
so,
agree.
are there any other things you want to add to that?
Signage, there's,
Yes, and that you include one, that you reduce the signage by eliminating the sign van signage for the residences and parking, and you'll need to submit signage, your final signage. So signage will have to be done through a separate permit for the
Understood.
commercial space. Thank you, Shana.
Is that the motion?
That's the motion.
Is there a second?
second,
Can we just say what we're voting on here? Are we voting to approve this with those conditions? or-
Approve with those special conditions.
Okay.
Is that satisfactory, Gene?
Well, I understand what it is now.
Okay. Steve?
Yes.
Gene?
I'm going to vote no. I think this is a really good project, but as I've said each time, I don't think it's safe with having a 12-foot drive aisle. So I have to regrettably vote no.
Shana?
yes,
Rachel?
Yes.
I'm a yes also, okay? So you'll get a letter with our stipulation. Sarah, you got all that down, right? Hopefully. Thank you. And if there's any questions, please reach out to Claire. And please proceed with your project with the power company right away. To see
Absolutely.
what we can do, okay? And work with the engineer and push him a little bit and see if we can get it in the back. Explain to them that it's a public way, it's the bike trail, and they can get their truck back there to push for the transformer, okay? Thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you.
Now we're on to the next project. Public hearing for docket 3883, 840 to 846 Mass Ave, and 17 Newman Way. Will the opponents please come up to the stand? What's our time? How are we doing?
It's 8 o'clock.
Okay. Claire, do you want to introduce this project here?
Sure, I'd love to. This is an application by HCA, which is the Housing Corporation of Arlington for 840, this is an application by HCA 84846 Mass Ave LLC, wholly owned by the Housing Corporation of Arlington, to open docket 383. This application is for site plan review to construct a new 6-story building with 28 rental units deed restricted for households earning up to 60% of the area median income, and 1 commercial unit with 2,281 square feet on the front lawn at 840 Mass Ave, and a new 3-story building with 12 rental units deed restricted for households making up to 60% AMI at 17 Newman Way. These new units represent a mix of 1, 2, and 3-bedroom designs. The plans also include long-term parking for 62 bicycles and short-term parking for 6 bicycles and 13 new vehicle parking spaces. They have a presentation, I believe.
Okay. Do you want to?
Good evening, Chairman Lau, members of the board, Director Ricker. My name is Mary Winstanley O'Connor. I have the pleasure of representing the Housing Corporation of Arlington. With me tonight is Erica Schwartz, the Executive Director of the Housing Corporation, Andrew Wolford, who is the Senior Real Estate Project Manager for the Housing Corporation, and Nick Burens from Util Architecture and Planning. And they will, Ms. Schwartz and Mr. Burens will present the plans for you, and we have a slide set. Director Ricker has described the project. I believe that the application that's been submitted is fairly complete with detail. We have also provided you with a memorandum as to the bonus provision, specifically what we consider the definition of business services to be for purposes of the additional bonus provisions. Just a little bit about, you people are very aware of the good work that the Housing Corporation of Arlington has done. This project is going to be funded and has been funded in substantial part with grants from the town of Arlington, various agencies, and the state, Commonwealth of Massachusetts. When the project is done, over time it will be totally affordable in all of the buildings, Newman Way and the new building on Massachusetts Avenue, as well as the 2 existing buildings. I'd suggest to you that the proposal by the Housing Corporation of Arlington satisfies all the purpose set out in 5.82 of this section of the bylaw. Every one of those purposes, I suggest to you, is satisfied by this particular project. I am going to turn it over to Ms. Schwartz, who's going to give a very brief presentation. I will tell you that Util Architecture and Planning is designed the building on Sunnyside Avenue, the 43 affordable units that are presently under construction for the Housing Corporation. That their firm has a significant amount of expertise in the development and construction of affordable housing. So if I could turn it over to Ms. Schwartz. Thank you.
There you go, Erica.
Yeah, I'm going to be very brief before I turn it over to Nick and we can get into the designs. So we can go to the next slide. There's 2 slides that I'll be speaking during. They're not super significant. I think most people are familiar with HCA. Our mission is up there to provide affordable, stable housing and empower residents in order to build a supportive and equitable community. And affordable housing development is just one of our 3 program areas, the other 2 being social services and civic engagement. Next slide. And we've been doing more new construction projects in recent years, and those are just some photos on the left of our Downing Square Broadway initiative buildings on Lowell Street and Broadway. And on the right, on the top is the Sunnyside Ave project that's under construction now. That's a rendering. And on the bottom was the ADU that we built a couple years ago. That's an all-electric ADU. So now we're really excited to be presenting on Emma's Court. And if you recall, HCA acquired these properties in September. Tenants had been organizing at 840, 846 Mass Ave and 17 Newman Way against rent increases. And we were able to acquire these buildings in no small part because of funds, as Mary referenced, from the town, including a grant that the town applied for on this project's behalf, on the acquisition project's behalf, from the state's MBTA Communities Catalyst Fund program. And that's a program specifically to fund acquisitions or other efforts that will catalyze new housing in MBTA community zones. So we're excited to be able to be here so quickly because that was one condition of our grant, was to move swiftly to acquire the properties, but then move on the new project. So we're here now to move on this new project to add affordable units to those properties at 840 Mass Ave and 17 Newman Way. So I will turn it over to Nick so we can get into more of the details. Thanks.
Thanks, Erica. Nice to be with you all today. My name is Nick Bierens. I'm a principal at UTO. We're a local planning and architecture office, and as Erica and Mary mentioned, we're working with HCA on the Sunnyside Ave project. Really excited to be here with you all tonight. My day job is really leading our affordable housing practice, so I do this day in and day out, and we're really excited about the potential of this project to bring new affordable housing to Arlington. Next slide, please, Claire. So you can see here in the site plan, as was described, the project is 2 separate buildings, and they really exist on a campus of these existing buildings that HCA has acquired recently. There's 846 on the upper left, 840 Mass Ave is in the middle there, and 17 Newman Way is at the bottom of the slide. And so the first building that's part of the proposal we're calling Building 1 at the corner of Mass Ave and Newman Way. That's the 6-story, 28-unit building. Building 2 is the one that will replace the existing structure at 17 Newman Way. That's a 3-story, 12-unit apartment building. The site plan also provides for some reconfiguration of the parking that you see there that will supplement the existing parking lot behind 846 Mass Ave. There's some reconfiguration of trash management and improvements to the dumpster enclosure there in the middle of the site. Some additional covered, sheltered bike parking there in the middle, as well as pedestrian connectivity and other sort of site improvements. Next slide, please. So you can see here in these initial massings of the 2 buildings how they relate to the existing buildings on site. 846 is a 6-story building, sort of mid-century vintage. 840 is a 3.5-story building that was built in phases over the 20s and the 40s. And the sort of architectural concept here for both of these buildings was obviously to leverage the assets that HCA has acquired with help from the town to provide additional affordable housing, but also to really create a campus and to create relationships with these 2 buildings that would be beneficial both to the existing residents on site and to the broader community. And so in doing so, what we're doing is, trying to carry the bulk of, the project and the density towards Mass Ave, towards that more active corridor, and then to use the smaller building really as a transition or as a stepping stone down into the lower density residential development that happens along Newman Way. Next slide, please. The landscape plan and the site planning was really a big driver for informing the character of this project as well. We've been working very closely with Offshoots, our landscape architect, and Niche, our civil engineer. And there are 2 main strategies that we're using for the site planning to make improvements here. The first one being really the activation of the street edges along Mass Ave and along Newman Way with much more diverse planting. We're adding street trees along Mass Ave. We're adding additional planting beds and trees along Newman Way. We're proposing to reconfigure a lot of the existing pedestrian paths that serve the larger site and redirect them towards the new crosswalk that was recently constructed across Mass Ave. There's better pedestrian connectivity to the high school, to CVS across the street. The second strategy is really about making this courtyard between the 2 buildings. And you can see that, we've shaped Building 1, the larger building on the corner there, is really a complement to the existing building, these 2 interlocking Ls. And those create this really nice landscaped courtyard. It's a flexible space that's meant as a gathering space and informal opportunity for residents to get together or to have more formal programming that HCA can help facilitate for their residents. And it's really an asset that we're trying to design to serve the residents of the broader campus, all 4 of these buildings together. So we're really excited about the potential of that and of working with the existing resident groups and with community members to get feedback about the specific programming and design of that space. We're also providing stormwater updates to the site, including infiltration, subsurface infiltration system that will help to manage some of the reduction in the pervious area that's occurring through the construction process, and on-site bike parking as well. Next slide, please.
You got a few moments. Can you kind of wrap it up?
I'll be as quick as I can. How's that? Just some quick stats on the project. The project is predominantly 2 and 3 bedrooms for serving families, over 2/3. Next slide, please. And just speaking quickly about the architecture of the buildings, we felt very strongly, in some example images here, some precedents that, the more public facades of the building should be masonry, in keeping with, the context of the 2 existing buildings on site, the high school and other residential blocks going down Mass Ave. Next slide. Whereas the courtyard space is much different. It's much more open, more glassy, lighter material palette, to provide views and connectivity to the courtyard, and also to take some relief from the existing building. Next slide, please. So you can see here in the rendering of the proposed building from the corner of Newman Way and Mass Ave, the masonry facade curving around that acute corner to try to bring some relief to that corner. We're introducing a series of inflections in the plan to break up the massing further, as well as a step back at the 4th floor, and then a very nice sort of open, glassy storefront space for the non-residential zone along Mass Ave. Next slide. A view here quickly, just sort of a little bit of a finer grain detail of the architecture at the residential entrance along Newman Way. Next slide. And then here you can see the courtyard view, where really the building changes its face and is much more open and lighter and brighter over the landscape courtyard. Next slide. The architecture for the second building is much different in character. As I said, it's sort of a stepping stone from the bigger buildings on Mass Ave to the residential buildings on Newman Way. And so this is a palette of clapboards, of more sort of residential front porch entry moments, smaller scale windows, so on and so forth. Next slide, please. And you can see here in the proposed rendering how we're applying that to the geometry of the building, introducing the subdivision of the mass into 2 smaller elevations to complement the residential character of the street, with this warm wood accent front porch. Next slide. You can see all the 3 buildings here together along the street. And one more slide. Just wanted to highlight the sustainability goals of the project. Both buildings are seeking Passive House certification. They're going to have very high-performing building systems and envelopes for providing photovoltaics on site, as well as a number of other amenities. And as Erica mentioned, these are 100% affordable, 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms, from 30 to 60% AMI, so very deeply affordable, and really in serving for the preservation of the existing affordability on site. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me just start off asking one quick question, and I'll ask the board some questions here. The building is set back 7'6" from the property line along Mass Ave, right? So,
Correct. Yep.
So because the building is set back 7'6", you achieve the 4th floor setback because it's already 7'6" back from the property line, and you can set, but your actual true setback is on the 5th floor, but that's irrelevant because the 4th floor is already set back 7'6" from the property line.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. I just want to establish that, just so we're all on the same page here. And there is no basement, right?
There's no basement. Both buildings are slab on grade.
Okay, thank you. Why don't we start with Rachel here?
Great, thank you. I'm really excited about this project. It's great to see affordable housing at this scale and volume being brought to Arlington, and the funding sources that have come together to make this possible. I also really am appreciative of the campus approach to the project. I think that that's a wonderful amenity for all of the future residents. Just have a few things that I wanted to run through. The first is regarding the bonus requirement. I believe that you have achieved the additional 2 floors through clearly through the number of affordable units.
Yes.
You are also looking for the zero lot line setback.
Front
as
yard
well.
setback, yes.
Front yard- okay.
Yes. Mhm.
I don't believe that you meet that. You don't currently meet the threshold for 60% of the ground floor use at street level being occupied by commercial or business use. I know that there's a discussion around what business
Yes.
uses are, but you are going to need to pull the building back or increase that to access that bonus provision.
Yep.
I I'll address the two buildings separately. So the Newman Way building, I think is a very interesting architectural approach to taking a lot of the, a very modern take on traditional roof pitches. I really do like the architecture that you're proposing here. Appreciate seeing the inspiration images as well. I think that looking at the roof overhangs, again, just to accentuate that point, might be something, again, that I'd like to see. But I would like to talk a little bit about the main building. I understand that you are looking to vary the facade through some of the small moves in the canting of some of the areas. I think that looking at the corner volume to, emphasize the corner volume, even in one of the precedent slides that you showed of some of the work at HCA, we've been able to decrease the overall feel of the massing of a building by emphasizing a corner volume or adding more articulation at the windows or projecting bays, some sort of a volumetric or banding approach to really break down the upper floors of this would be something that I think would be important to see, whether it's introducing stone or metal accents in some way. And I think that's especially necessary given the historic building that you're adjacent to. I didn't see a lighting plan. Is there an exterior lighting plan that was part of the package? It was a very comprehensive package.
I don't believe we submitted one yet.
Okay, so that's just something that I think we'd like to see,
Yep.
is especially given the courtyard is a lighting plan. I'm trying to understand there wasn't a building section, so I'm trying to understand the parapet depths as well. Do you have
The heights of the
information of the
parapets?
heights of the parapets on both the area where we have the step back as well as the upper roof?
They're typically pretty modest,
Okay.
somewhere between 12 to 18 inches.
Okay.
And we try to align them with the roof insulation. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So with that, I know that we have, I believe that you have the mechanical, you have a mechanical bay in the center of the building. Do you have any screening proposed for the mechanical?
We don't have screening currently proposed for the rooftop equipment. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's something that I want you to take a look at. The grade changes significantly as you go up the side street, and in one of the renderings, I think looking back, it was one of the massing studies. It was very prominent, the HVAC unit. So I think that's something we should take a look at. Did you meet the solar requirements on the two buildings, or are you looking for an exemption to the solar
I believe we meet the requirements, and we did provide a solar assessment as part of the submission demonstrate. I believe it's 50% coverage.
Okay,
Yeah.
it wasn't clear to me, so
Okay.
that's why I wanted to ask the question. Your written description talks about adding street trees to Newman Way, but I didn't see those added. I believe you have trees on the property, but not street trees.
That's correct, yeah. There are existing overhead power lines that follow the planting strip between the curb and the sidewalk there, so our landscape architect felt like it wasn't viable to introduce street trees under the power line, so we're proposing to put them behind the sidewalk instead. Yep.
Okay. Are you proposing any, or how are you proposing that the trash be removed? Are the trucks entering into that parking area, or are they pulling the dumpsters out to the street?
So Erica may want to speak to this. The existing dumpster enclosure serves the existing buildings, and that will remain in place, and I believe the trucks enter the driveway and load the dumpsters. The new building will have its own interior trash room, so all of those totes will live inside, and they'll be taken out and emptied into the truck and put back inside. And same thing with the smaller building as well.
Okay. Let's see.
Could I ask one clarifying question just
Yes.
before you move on to your comment about the corner articulation, massing? Do you mean specifically at the corner, sort of a volume at the corner,
Yes,
or
I'm-
just sort of the overall treatment of?
I would, again, I'm not going to give you specific architectural direction, but
Yes.
yes, I think either articulating at the corner or again, adding more variation
Yep.
to the facade, again, whether it's at the corner or whether it's on the two main facades, pushing in and out or banding, or, you know, whether there's a heavier cornice. You certainly have room, given the short parapet depth,
Yep.
without adding height, seems to be feasible. Those are the initial questions that I had.
Shayna?
Sorry. So thank you. It's very exciting to see an affordable housing project of this scale in town. We really appreciate your work. I have a few questions for you, and I think Erica or Andrew will likely need to weigh in on some of these. It's really exciting to see a commercial space that's so large in this location, so thank you for including that. Is there a user in mind? Do you have a user in mind for this space?
HCA would bring our own efforts, I should say. So we would move where HCA's headquarters are in a basement to this space to operate all of our programs and all of our work. Yeah.
Okay, great.
And if I may, a lot of those programs are not going to just be available to the residents, but throughout the town of Arlington, to all residents.
Sure. Great. Continuing on with the commercial, it felt a little bit like that front entry got lost. You know, you have those beautiful, that beautiful glazing all along, but then the entry itself gets lost a little bit. So if you wanted to take a look at that space, that would be great. And I also didn't see a sign band on the rendering, but I could have missed it. So if you wanted to take a look at that, that would be great. I noticed there was direct access from the commercial into the residential space. Was that because it's HCA space and you intend to have sort of residents coming and going? Was that the thinking?
Yes, but we might, well, the plans might shift, but yes.
Okay, great. So I was wondering about parking. How many parking spaces serve the two existing buildings now?
57 spaces.
57. And Erica, do you know how many of those spaces are in use? How many residents actually use those spaces now?
We don't have an exact count. It's something we're working on. They are pretty well used. However, should I be speaking?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So the spaces at the site now, we still have to get a decent count. They are pretty well used. However, the population will shift slightly over time as we restrict the existing properties to be 100% affordable. Which is not to say that the population we serve doesn't still need cars. They absolutely do, but we think we're basing our parking numbers on the data we have from our existing developments where all of our units are restricted. So we do expect that over time, the population and their car needs will align with our intended ratio.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Have you identified the locations for the accessible parking spaces? I didn't see those indicated on the plans. If you could call those out on the plans, that would be great.
Would you like me to address that specifically right now?
You don't need to do
Why
it
don't you
right
do
now,
it
but
later?
but
I just wanna get the
later on,
questions
that
in.
would be great. Let's see. appeared to me that the exit from the bike room went through the building rather than direct access to the exterior. Is that correct?
That is the way the plans are currently configured, although there is a side door right next to the
Okay.
bike parking, yep.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
The TDM plan, as it's written now, is actually one measure short. One of the measures you had included was providing covered bike parking. You need to do that anyway. There are a variety of other measures in there that I think you could quite likely achieve. So if you want to revisit that and pick another third measure, that would be great. Could you confirm you intend to consolidate the lots, so it'll be one large lot?
It's one lot.
It's one lot now, it has been consolidated. Okay, great. What are your plans for snow removal? Do you have snow removal, do you have snow storage sites identified or?
Let me speak to that.
Oh.
Go for it. No?
We will be adding this property to the vendor that we have now, who, depending on the amount of snow, does sometimes have to remove snow off-site. Oftentimes, they'll find a corner in the lot to move it to after a big storm.
Do you, on the rear and side lot lines of 17 Newman, I didn't see on the landscape plan any fencing. Did you have any intention to put fencing on those lot lines? Okay.
Yes, I believe that's the intention.
Okay. And had you thought at all yet about what that material might be?
Likely a wood privacy fence.
Okay, if you could update the landscape plan with that material,
Sure.
that would be great. Let's see, you already spoke to the photometric study, and the solar. So you could have gone up another story at Newman Way. Why did you choose to, and presumably gotten another 4 units, why did you choose to stay at 3 stories?
I think there's a couple of reasons. One is the number of units is we found to be a sweet spot financially for the way our financing sources work. But also we did want to sort of transition to the scale at Newman Way. And it seemed that 3 stories was appropriate to have the 3 stories there and the taller building on the main thoroughfare of Mass Ave.
Great, okay. Is the Newman Way building served by an elevator? No.
No.
So I have found recently that EOHLC is asking for elevators even in buildings that do not require them by code. If you run into this at some point down the line, could you please be thoughtful about whether the head house can be seen from the street? And if it's going to be seen from the street, I think we'll want to know about that. And just one last question. Do you have specific plans around stormwater management for the completed project? I appreciate the thorough discussion of construction period. And have you thought about during for the longer term?
Do you mean when we renovate the
Yeah.
existing buildings?
No, are
Yeah.
you intending to install any measures that would live beyond the construction period or?
Yeah, there's going to be an entire stormwater management system that will be installed, partially in the below grade in the courtyard, partially in the drive aisle on Newman Way. We didn't have a drainage plan assembled at the time that we filed the submission, but we have that now, and we can submit it to the board for your review. Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate your thorough submission.
Gene?
Thank you. I'm glad my two colleagues went ahead of me because they asked a lot of questions that I would have asked. I have to say two things in full disclosure. One is I've been a financial donor to HCA for probably more than 20 years, although I would say that's not influencing my discussion. And second is we got a letter today from something called Equitable Arlington, recommending the project, and I'm a member of Equitable Arlington, so it's important for me to say that I have intentionally not attended any Equitable Arlington meetings where things that are going in front of the redevelopment board might have been discussed, and I was unaware that the letter would be coming in until we saw it because I wasn't involved in those discussions, and at least when I was active in Equitable Arlington, there was no requirement to agree with the position that the it's not an organization, that the group of people may have taken. So I thought it'd be helpful to make those disclosures. And I like the project a lot. I think it's really needed in town. I don't have the concerns that some of my colleagues have with the way the buildings look. I'm happy with them. I'm happy the new building doesn't look like the old buildings in any way because Mass Ave is such a mishmash going up and down Mass Ave of different styles anyhow. To me, it's nice to add something new and different there. Will all the units in all the buildings be affordable housing or just the new buildings?
Yes, all the units eventually will be. The buildings we've already acquired are not yet restricted, but we're working on a plan that would have them all be restricted, all of the units on the whole campus.
Do you know how many tenants now in the existing buildings wouldn't qualify for that?
We don't have a good count because we can't require tenants to submit that kind of information now. I don't know, Andrew, if we have like any kind of estimate of who would qualify now for affordable housing. We estimate, I don't know, it could be 40%.
I don't think we're in a position
Yeah.
to share an actually reliable estimate, but to Erica's point, we did send out a survey to all residents requesting voluntarily income information, and we had a pretty low take-up rate on that survey, so we are in the dark a little bit on future income eligibility for deed restricted affordable housing.
Is it your intention that the ones who are not income eligible or won't give that information will be allowed to stay and their leases renewed when they're up?
It's a matter of timing, so we will never evict anybody. There could be a time when people who aren't income eligible might need to be relocated, and we're hoping because we're taking so much time to get to that point that there might be natural attrition of some households. We do see that there's some households that naturally turn over. And in that case, we would be responsible for providing deep relocation services to help people find a comparable unit, help them fully move, pay for, in certain circumstances, a portion of their rent, depending on a lot of, state and federal relocation laws. But we are hoping that over time, as units naturally turn over, we can be filling those units appropriately so that we don't have to have that situation. That's part of the reason why we're not restricting the existing units immediately, so that we have time both to raise the money to do a deep renovation, because we'll be getting subsidy money, and to do a deep renovation to not change those buildings, but sustain them, preserve them, improve them, and at the same time restrict all of those units to be affordable.
Can you give us an estimate about when they might happen and when people will have to be relocated?
It depends on when we can secure financing from the state, but it would not happen before likely 2030. That's an estimate.
Yeah, I had a friend who lived in 846, and he would not have been income eligible, but as to turnover, he's gone. He's not there anymore. So people do come and go. I have a number of questions relating to how the project complies with the zoning bylaw that I'd like to go through. Claire, if you can put up on the screen, I think it's the second page on that. Keep on going back. That's it, second page. So if you look at the project area and uses chart, and I add up the number of units in building 1, it doesn't come up to 28, it comes up to 25. So I think there's an error in that. Also, in building 1, it indicates that there's one affordable dwelling unit on the ground floor, if you look at the chart, project area and uses. But if you look at the chart below it, unit total and mix, it shows no affordable units on the ground floor. And your plan shows no affordable units. So is the project area and uses incorrect, that there's no affordable dwelling unit on the ground floor?
Yeah, that's incorrect. That's an error.
And also, it's not, if I added up those, I added up to 25, not 28, and if you compared to the unit total and mix, they miscounted. So I think it would be good if you could update that chart.
Yep.
So it would be accurate. The chart says that the ground floor has 5,585 gross square feet. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe so.
So that number's correct. And that the commercial space is 2,283 square feet. The problem is that the 60% you need of 5,586 is 3,351.6 square feet. So at the moment, you're not meeting the 60% requirement for coming within the 15-foot setback. So unless you can fix that, you're allowed to have the extra stories because of the affordable units, but you're going to have to pull the building back. So the setback is 15 feet, not 7.5. So you have to reconfigure the first floor and some ground floor, or redo that. Business services is really interesting, and I really hate to disagree with your esteemed counsel on the definition of business services that she put in her letter. And there is no definition in our zoning bylaw. But if you look at the general definition that I found all over the internet in many, many places, it's business services are things that are not core to the business. So for example, if the core of the business is a restaurant, it's not you, I'm just using this as an example.
Gene, can I interrupt one quick second here? I did ask that same question to our town council, and our town council concurs with their council.
Yeah, but I'm allowed to disagree.
No,
I'm allowed to disagree, and I will talk to our town council too, because I think he's wrong.
I'm just adding more information, that's all.
Yeah, I think he's wrong. So if it was a pizza restaurant or a restaurant, for example, making the food is the core business, but the IT is a business service. Removing of the trash is a business service. So I think it's a close question here, but if it was just providing housing, that's a core service, and it's not a business service. I would say the others are not a core service, except your mission includes social services and counseling. So basically, I think that everything, basically, with maybe one exception, that you're proposing to put on the ground floor would not be considered business services. But my colleagues may disagree with me. I'm just telling you what I think the definition is. And I'd be happy to speak to town council, who hasn't had my wisdom, but only the wisdom of your esteemed council. if you look at the dimensional and parking information sheet, that's on a different document. It's the dimensional and parking document. It indicates that it requires a minimum of 101 parking spaces. I don't get that number, so I wondered how you got the number that required 101 minimum parking spaces.
I'm not sure I can answer that off the top of my head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think, here's what I think is correct, but your counsel might think I'm incorrect. It seems to me that you're going to have a total of how many units? 57 on the whole, no, how many
We have
units?
a total of 97 units.
97 units when you're done. Usually that's one space per unit, but you get a 10% reduction because of affordability. So as the way I see it, you can have 87 spaces, not 101 spaces. But you're asking us for 48 spaces, and you're actually going down from the current 57 spaces to 48 spaces. So here's another thing for your council to think about. So section zoning bylaw 6.1.7, existing spaces says, parking or loading spaces being maintained in any district for any existing use, that's your current 57, on the effective date of this bylaw, or any spaces subsequently provided shall not be decreased or in any way removed from service to the use originally intended, so long as the use remains, unless a number of the parking or loading spaces is constructed elsewhere, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to have to, I think, as a board, figure out what to do with that. I think your argument on the other side would be, we only have 35 units. No, how many units do you have in the two existing buildings?
57.
57, so how many parking spaces do you now have for those two units? You have the 35 plus how many more?
In the proposed
No,
plans,
in the currently.
At Newman Way,
there's currently 20 at Newman Way. Yeah, and there's currently 20 at Newman Way, and there will be 13.
So 20 at Newman Way and none behind 840?
correct.
So currently you have 55 spaces total?
There's two spaces behind Newman Way that are.
Can you speak on the mic, please?
Oh, so sorry.
That's counted in the 20.
So,
Yeah.
so there are 57 spaces altogether?
That's what I have in my notes that they quoted earlier, Jean, yes,
That's- I
57.
have that too, okay. And were those spaces used by 846 and Mass Ave and 40 Mass Ave and Newman Way, or how were they allocated?
I think they are, some of them are assigned, but yes, it's, currently there's 3 buildings on one campus, and that's the parking serving the whole campus,
So
so,
that's the way it's worked now,
right, and so,
Okay.
yeah.
okay. Yeah, well, I think we'll have to figure out what to do with that. Along with my colleague, I don't think your transportation demand management plan meets the requirements. However, I differ from my colleague in that I think it meets only one of the requirements, but you're close to meeting the others. So let me just go through them. It is within a quarter-mile walk of a number 77
Gene?
bus stop.
Speaker?
77 bus stops, so that does meet one of them. You also mentioned you put in the 67 bus, but it doesn't qualify. You don't need it. It doesn't qualify. It only runs on weekdays, and in order to qualify, it has to run 7 days a week. And contrary to what your proposed TDM said, its headways are mostly more than 30 minutes. So that doesn't meet it, but the 77 bus does. You need at least 2 charging spaces for electric bikes because zoning bylaw speaks in the plural of charging stations. You have proposed one in the exterior. Seems to me you could put a second one in the interior bicycle parking area, and then you would have met that requirement.
It's a dual charging station, so it provides connections for multiple
Right, but
bicycles. Yeah.
I would say put one inside and one outside. I think that would work. As Shana mentioned, you proposed 62 covered bike parking spaces. 60 are already required. Just adding 2 is not a justification for reduction of 39 parking spaces. Your TDM plan did not propose parking for cargo bikes, but if you could find a place for them near a bike parking station, that would do the trick. I think maybe at least 3 spaces for cargo bike parking, and then you would have met the TDM requirement. We'll still have to decide if the reduction is appropriate, but at least you've met the TDM requirement. Solar roofs. I think Rachel mentioned this. You put that in there, but you did not complete or did not provide the complete system assessment that's required by the ARB rules and regulations. So if you could take a look at that, it requires a little more that you provided. I think you meet it, but you just need to do it. I appreciate seeing the list of trees and shrubs. For the public shade trees that you listed, the tree warden has to actually approve the choice of trees, not simply the list, but he has to approve them. So that has to be done. There's an interesting aspect in the zoning bylaw, and this is something of first impression. We haven't had this before. Parking areas providing more than 25 spaces, including parking areas expanded to provide more than 25 spaces, shall include landscaped areas with trees, etc., which you're not doing. On the one hand, you could say, well, we're not increasing it. On the other hand, you are, because you're adding the spaces around the Newman Way, so you are, in a sense, increasing. So I'm not sure what we're going to do with that. I'm interested in what my colleagues have to say. But it would be nice to plant some trees to shade the parking lots in any event.
We are planting some new trees along the
I saw.
divider, yes.
Yeah. The other thing, and this is from the Department of Plan and Community Development memo, is we need details of the 2-tier bike racks to show that they're, they are automated lifts. That's it for now. Thank you.
Bless you. Steve?
Hello, I'll give the same disclosure as Mr. Benson. I have a financial contributor to HCA and a member of Equitable Arlington, but had absolutely nothing to do with the communication that was sent to the board. Because of my colleagues have done such a great job, I have relatively few questions. What do you anticipate as being funding sources for the construction?
It's a long list of the typical sources for a project like this. So the biggest source will be low-income housing tax credits that are allocated by the state, and then also a range of different state programs that fund affordable housing. And then there will also be a permanent mortgage. We don't have that lender identified yet, but we have a lot of options to solicit.
Okay.
Am I missing anything significant? Oh, and of course, the town, who we have an application in for CPA, and we'll be continuing to pursue that.
And what about funding sources for the commercial space?
So we have some ideas on that. They're not solidified. We would have to do a little bit of fundraising and possibly take out a loan. But those are funds we are confident we could raise.
So,
And
yeah.
we do have an estimate for what we expect that to cost, so we do have a sense of that.
Okay, so one of the questions was, I was trying to get to was, do funding constraints place any limits on what kind of uses can, on how the commercial space can be used? Like, you can fund, because of funding sources, we can do X, but Y is a no-no?
Our affordable housing sources won't really support the commercial space. So it's just a matter of us raising the funds that we would need. I mean, certainly I don't think we could build out, we wouldn't take the risk to build out, say, like a restaurant, which is a very expensive build out, and probably does not align. We'd probably have to redesign the whole space. So maybe just, those kinds of extreme build outs where you need something so particular and fire safety that would add a lot of cost.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anyone else has anything to add. Do you want to?
I'll just add briefly, there generally, because LIHTC and other affordable housing funds locally and at the state level can't support commercial space, there is a challenge of trying to keep that commercial space as limited as possible. But obviously, we understand that there is a minimum amount required.
But it's basically the strings attached with the funding sources would allow things like services for homeless prevention and that sort of thing. But you wouldn't necessarily open a high-end jewelry shop there.
Yes, in short, yes. I don't know if you want to add anything, Erica.
Yeah, I mean, I think our goal is to have our operations be there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's sort of what we'd be raising money for. But I think at a certain point, a build out for a, yes, I wouldn't add any more to that.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, that's, that's sort of the one challenging part is it's about 37% of the ground floor rather than 60. As my colleagues have said, you can, by providing 100% affordable, you well exceed the requirements for going up 2 stories, but that would, entail pulling the building back and having a 15-foot setback along each of the 2 front yards.
Yeah, and we did realize recently that there was a discrepancy in how the interpretation was and our interpretation. So I think we've been discussing that. Yeah.
Okay, nothing further.
Just add
Sure.
one other thing. If you decide to pull the building back to 15 feet, then you can be there. We won't have to have the discussion about what's business services and what isn't.
Yeah, I think, well, I'll just say our goal. I would let it. Okay, we'll let it go. Yes.
It's, okay. I'm just going to add a few quick ones. I think my colleagues have put as many issues on the table as possible. I'm just going to do a quick couple. The building on Mass Ave, I would be interested to see what you guys feel about on the top 2 floors, changing the material a little bit. So, because right now it looks very monolithic and very heavy. I was wondering, would you entertain changing material or color just to lighten up the thing, so give it more of a distinction? The cornice on the 6th floor and on the 4th floor are fairly similar. I would suggest maybe you can look at it and make it more hierarchical, and maybe the 4th floor maybe a little more massive, or some scale up a little bit, so that, you know what I'm trying to get at, and I have all the confidence you guys being able to do that. Okay, so that was my major question to you guys on the penetration of the building, and then on the programming on the lower floor, I would just suggest switching the bike room and the laundry room we have it laid out now, where the laundry room faces the courtyard. So the laundry room could activate or interact with the courtyard. So if you're doing laundry and the kids are out playing in the courtyard, you sort of keep an eye on them. That kind of old traditional way of looking at things. And then now the bike room is out on Newman Way, where they can just bring the bike right in, not drag it through the hallways or anything else like that, and have an outside door. I think that might be a good program. So it's a suggestion. I'm not saying it's mandatory or anything else. I'm just looking for ways to activate the courtyard. I think we've talked about this before. Your conference room or your community room there, It'd be nice if there was a door that led out to maybe like a little patio out there, so there's more interaction. So if you're doing something out there, you could just move the nice weather, move the party out there, or move something out there like a kids' party or whatever. So there's more activities happening in the courtyard. I think your courtyard scheme is a great idea. I want to support it. It's a shame that you have to make it smaller, but I still want to activate it, and by putting more spaces around the edges. I think that would be a good approach, but that's my suggestion right now. And all the other suggestions from the board, we'll leave it at that right now. So with that said, I'm going to open this up to public comment. Since seems like quite a crowd here today, I'm going to ask for a few things. I'm going to limit your time to 3 minutes. And if there's repeated or similar comments, I'm asking you to please, if something's already said already, please not restate it again. I'd rather have everybody a chance to give their opinion if they have different facts they want to stress. So if there's a big group that just says the same thing over and over again, it doesn't help get everybody's voices in, okay? So if they already spoke about what you want to speak about or question what you want to question, please pass. All right. Who would like to speak? Your name and, go ahead, sir. Your name and address. Yes, please come to the microphone so people at home can hear you too.
Thank you, Chairman Lau and board members for this opportunity to speak. I have a short minute-and-a-half statement. It's written down in case my brain goes haywire, so I'm just going to read it quickly to you. My name is Neil Mongold. I live at 12 Brattle Place in Arlington, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Housing Corporation of Arlington as the current board president. I've been an Arlington resident for the past 30 years, and like many folks here, I assume tonight, or I guess tonight, I doubt that I could afford to live in our relatively well-off town, but for the good luck of having bought a house here in 1996. There is an urgent need for affordable, well-managed housing in our town. So I'm asking the ARB members to support these bylaw relief requests to help make the Emmis Court project a success. Many Arlingtonians struggle with extremely high housing expenses that are outpacing the incomes of working families and individuals. While there are roughly 1,200 income-restricted dwelling units in town, research from the town of Arlington's housing plan has found that more than 5,700 households would qualify for affordable housing, and I suspect that number is growing. These numbers are from, I believe, 2022. The Emmis Court project will provide 40 units of permanent affordable housing that will be walkable, transit-oriented, highly energy efficient, and maybe most important, managed and operated by HCA, which is our local community-based nonprofit. I urge the ARB members, please, to support the Emmis Court project, and I also invite anyone who is interested in the work of HCA to join as a member. Thank you for this opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak? You, sir? Go ahead.
I'm David Bean, 50 Jason Street, and I've been following the tenants' efforts at these apartments for several years now. I know people who live there, and I was extremely pleased when HCA bought the properties there on Mass Avenue, though I thought that probably it was in the cards that there was going to be some use made of the large grassy space on the corner, which I believe originally had a large shade tree on it, and I assume the existing building 840 was constructed around that shade tree. And that open space has been a pleasure for everyone using the avenue. I was shocked when I saw the proposal originally for this by just how big it is. Very close to the sidewalks and 6 stories tall. This is a behemoth of a project. I agree that providing more affordable housing in Arlington is a good thing, but this is just one more wall in canyonizing Mass Avenue. Just down the way, we have the higher than ever high school and some more tall projects farther up the avenue. And I suppose it's inevitable, but I don't want to see Mass Avenue in Arlington get to be like it's becoming in North Cambridge, just a wall of, a canyon of these vertical walls. The apartments in 840 have been described by everyone as sunny, and they are sunny now. They will not be sunny when this building is built. It will cast almost all of 840 in shade. And the courtyard behind it, I would expect, it will also be shady enough that probably the planting plans that have been made are going to be very difficult. I would urge the board to
You got 30 seconds.
Thank you. I would urge the board to ask for a shadow study regarding this. The historic building 840, which many people have said nice things about, is almost invisible behind the new building there on the corner. It's just too big. Find a way to make it smaller and less oppressive. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening. For those of you who don't know, my name is Annie LaCourte. I am a town meeting representative for Precinct 13 and the Precinct 13 representative on the Finance Committee. So I'm very much...
Address?
48 Chatham Street.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm very much in favor of this project. We desperately need the affordable housing. I actually like this building a lot. I don't have a problem with the height. I actually think that along Mass Ave, we have this huge variety of styles and heights, and that it is difficult to suggest that this building is out of keeping with what we have on Mass Ave if you go all the way up and down the avenue. I think we need the space. I really appreciate the architectural context for Newman Way, that they've kept that building low and are trying to find a style that will fit in a residential neighborhood to make the kind of transition we imagined when we voted for the MBTAC zoning. I think this building is in keeping with what I certainly imagined we would have when we voted on the MBTCA project. And I love the way that, as has been said, the way they've made a campus and that the 4 buildings work together and so on and so forth. So I hope that we can work out all of the details that you have raised tonight and we can approve this project without losing any units from the buildings, because we need this housing. And from a financial perspective for the town, this will actually help us with our tax base. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, you over there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
My name's Kate Casa, and I live at 62 Wollaston Avenue in the Heights. I've been here just a year or two shy of the 28 or so years in Arlington. I'm very excited about this project. I strongly support it. Maybe many of us here in this room have adult children that could never afford to live in Arlington. I'd really like to see that changed. I'm lucky enough to have been able to buy when I did. I could never live in town today. I love the campus idea, and I think that it really speaks to the heart of why I love Arlington. When I moved here and I was looking to move here and looking at neighborhoods, people spoke about, you know, well, it's nice here, but my neighborhood is really the best one. And I feel we're building a neighborhood. This idea is building a neighborhood here. I didn't realize their offices were going to propose, you know, possibly be in the first floor commercial space, and I love that idea because HCA is building community and making connections with the tenants, and I strongly believe that that's what, you know, that's what makes community. The affordability is extremely important. All the units are for under 60% of median income, so a family of 4 who makes no more than about $100,000 could actually live in these new buildings. It's critical for our town. Also, I just want to speak to the lawn question. I love what's been done in front of the high school. To me, the lawn that was in front of the high school and here too is really just what used to be completely empty, really. You drive by, it was green, you never saw people on it. That's different now. And I hope we'll see the same kind of use in the courtyard space that's being developed here. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you consider this favorably.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am?
Hi, my name is Amy Hearn-Duke. I live at 33 Newman Way, Unit 1, which is 2 houses down from these proposed redevelopments. I've lived in Arlington for 45 years, on Newman Way for 40 of those years. I'm also a recently retired Addison Middle School teacher, and I taught there for 25 years. So I care about Arlington, and I care about my neighborhood. Like most of us who live on Newman Way, we support affordable housing. We understand that changes are going to happen and that things are going to be built. We have a lot of concerns with the specifics of what has been proposed. We've written letters, which presumably everybody has read. So I would like to just speak to 2 of my big picture concerns. Quite a while ago, when I was in college, I was a political philosophy major. As part of that, I took some urban planning classes, and we studied the debacle that was the 1960s Boston West End project. What's happening in Arlington is far from that massive urban renewal. But the lack of concern for the existing neighborhoods and the existing communities seems familiar. Urban planners talked, and I assume still talk, about the importance of a sense of place. People thrive when they feel connected to their surroundings and when they find a sense of identity and belonging in their community. And that sense includes feeling connected to a place's past as well as its present. The current 6-story design of the proposed building 1 that's 14 feet taller than the neighboring apartment building and way taller than the one-story to 2-story buildings around it. It completely obscures the beautiful architecture at 840 Mass Ave, and this would be a huge loss, not only to our neighborhood, but to the town as well. And it sends a message to the nearby Arlington High School students that the past has no value. The proposed 17 Newman Way replacement would also have a big effect on our neighborhood, beyond its aesthetics, which I suppose is personal opinion whether you like it or not. Our street has always included all the people who live in the 1- and 2-family homes. The Arlington Housing Corporation, by grouping the proposed building 2 in with the apartment buildings and renaming the entire area Emma's Court, seems to be okay with creating 2 neighborhoods on Newman Way. My understanding of what at least used to be one goal of affordable housing is that the residents would be integrated into the surrounding neighborhood whenever possible. and not isolated and potentially stigmatized as living in the subsidized housing area. Newman Way neighbors help each other out with snow shoveling. We visit when working in the yard, walking dogs, or just walking to the store, and we join together for a street party every year. We welcome new neighbors, and with some rental units on the street, we are used to turnover. But our annual street party that works for 15 residential units won't work for 30 units. That's not a reflection on who would be moving in, but just an observation about how many people can comfortably be included in a neighborhood
Your time's
gathering.
running short.
A classroom of 15 to 25 students works, a classroom of 30 to 50 students does not. We will reach out to the new residents of the redeveloped 17 Newman Way, and we hope they will reach out to us. 6 units can be integrated into our neighborhood. 12 units cannot.
Thank you. Sir?
My name is Mike. I live at 1016 Mass Ave, and I've been an Arlington resident for 23 years, and I'm a current HCA resident. This committee will hear from my neighbors who have concerns such as buildings casting shade, the canyonization of Mass Ave, and Arlington becoming more like Cambridge. I would implore those neighbors and this board to consider a much more profound question. Do we want a town where those graduating from Arlington High can afford to live here, or do we prefer displacing them to move far out of town to afford rent in order to preserve ever-rising housing prices? If you believe as I do, then we should do everything we can to empower CDCs like HCA to reduce the power and profit motive currently built into housing to the extent possible. Approving Emma's Court would be a step towards this goal. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes?
Hi, thank you. My name is Susan Stamps, 39 Grafton Street, and I'm on the tree committee, but I'm not speaking for the tree committee. But I did have questions about trees in the drawings. Under the new zoning bylaw 6.3, the developer is supposed to plant trees every 25 feet in front of the project if there weren't along any public way involved in the project. There are 2 public ways here, Newman Way and Mass Ave. I couldn't understand the drawings, but I did look at the pictures, and I'm not seeing that the end of the project ends up with a street tree every 25 feet. So I'd like the board to watch that. And also, I'm wondering if the developer has consulted with the tree warden, which is required by the same 6.3 zoning bylaw, not only on height of tree, but also species, because as our tree warden says, you need the right tree in the right place. And there's no indication on the plans that there was, that the tree warden did approve of the choice of trees, and that is required by the choice of trees, the height, the species, and everything else about the trees, which is required by the bylaw. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Anson Stewart. I'm at 12 Moulton Road, which is a few blocks from the proposed project. I walk by almost every day, usually pushing a stroller for daycare drop-off, and I'm very excited for this project. I think it would be a great addition to the neighborhood. It would make the walk kind of more comfortable. So I would just urge the board to do whatever it can to help move this project along. My one thought or suggestion might be, oftentimes it's a little hard to maneuver a stroller around the bus stop, so if there's any opportunity to coordinate with the town for a bump out or some sort of traffic calming there, I think that would be a small, useful addition, but fully support the project. Thanks.
Thank you.
My name is Jeffrey Brommer. I live at 30, and I also am the owner of 3032 Newman Way, which is about 5 houses down on the other side. I think it has much potential proposal. I think it's a bit high. It's a bit too many units. I think it will change the neighborhood. Several things, some of them which the board already brought up. One is the whole question of trash, parking, and snow removal. Right now, I'm glad we got the snowstorm. The company basically puts the snow on the empty lot. Now there's very small. Where's the snow going? It's going on Mass Ave. And they're going to be digging very small little things like they are up at the other large apartment buildings right now, which aren't safe. Second, the whole question of parking. I think you mentioned, ma'am, that you said it's already pretty much used. And then you brought up 39 extra spots that are needed. I may have the numbers wrong, but you all know what I'm talking about. If there's 57 parking spots now that are pretty much used, you're adding in dumpsters. There's 2 right now for an extra almost double not quite double the population. You're going to add 4 probably. Oftentimes they're not even dealt with very well. You have staff parking now for the businesses. Right now, if you go down Newman Way, we are still the overload parking spot for Arlington High School every time it's in session. If you try to get down today, which is true in other streets in Arlington as well, you can't pass. But right now that snow becomes an issue. It's also right by the 77 bus. I ride that bus, people have ridden that bus. Now we may not have future snow because of global warming, but we have it right now. And so the whole question of parking was, well, what's going to happen down the road? Won't be as important down the road. But they also said that about Arlington High School when this first passed. They said, well, there'll be more parking for Arlington High School. Not this Arlington, but the override when it first passed. But the parking's still the same, and Arlington High School and their teachers are all parking there. So we have staff parking, high school
You have
parking.
30 seconds.
And now 39 more spaces that are needed, but we're making the spaces smaller. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. This will be our last one here.
Hello, thank you. My name is Shelley Dean. I live at 7 Cleveland Street in East Arlington. I've been an Arlington resident for 40 years. I've lived on Cleveland Street for about 30. And and full disclosure, I'm a member of the Arlington Clean Energy Future Committee. I know that they wrote a letter in support of this project. And I've also been a long-term member of the Real Estate Development Committee for the Housing Corporation of Arlington. Excuse me, I don't know where my voice is going. I want to speak in support of this project. This project really marries my 2 interests, which is affordable housing development, which is just so critical, such a critical need in Arlington, as well as environmental issues and environmental concerns. To me, this project is the epitome of what transit-oriented development should be. It really promotes the alternative of personal vehicle use by having by parking, by having access to buses, by being such a walkable neighborhood with amenities close by, grocery stores on either end of the site, the pharmacy across the way, schools, a park just a few blocks away. It is really what those of us who live in walkable neighborhoods in Arlington really admire, and I can see that this project will support this. The other thing that's so important to me is when we talk about rental housing in Arlington, so often it is not energy efficient. This is going to be the highest level of energy efficiency by building up to passive house standards. And also this helps support the existing housing on the site, which admittedly is not part of this particular request at this moment, but the entire campus will be supported. It's so important that we have affordable, transit-oriented, and energy-efficient rental housing. So I really support this project. Thank you.
Thank you. For those who want to speak and ask questions and did not get a chance, please submit an email to us, and we will be reading those. And I'm guessing this is not the last meeting, so you're more welcome to come to the following meetings if you did get a chance to speak tonight. I appreciate that. I'm going to close public comments for now and return it back to the board so they have a chance to talk. Rachel?
Sure. So I think that we had a range of comments and items to discuss. I think, Jean, you had two specifically that I believe you wanted to discuss with the board. I'm happy to run through if, it seems like there is another meeting that is required, and I'm happy to run through my list. Ken, unless...
Yeah, I think, but let's follow that at the end. Let's
Sure.
leave it open right now so we give them a clear direction of what we have, issues, and certainly we'll send memos to you guys out with all the issues that we have here, okay?
I did just have two other questions before, Jean, we get to the two that you posed, and these are just minor clarifications that I neglected to ask beforehand. Are you proposing any directional signage for the parking lot or purely through striping to indicate the traffic flow? I think that your new proposed parking is one way.
It's a one-way.
And is that just through striping, or are you going to be proposing any, mounted directional signage? Okay, if you get to that point, we'll just have to do that through a separate signage permit unless it's striping. And then my other question was just to confirm, that you have not planned for any through wall penetrations for items like laundry, et cetera. We do require that items are ducted through the roof, so I just wanted to make sure that we pass that on to you. Okay, great. Sorry, Jean.
So before I talk about those, I think for people who haven't been at our meetings before, it might be helpful for you to know that this is what's known as site plan review, which limits our authority in terms of what we can do. So for example, because they're having a certain amount of affordable housing, they are allowed to have a 6-story building there. And we just can't tell them not to have a 6-story building there. And we can't tell them not to put the building on the lot that they own. And I agree with someone here who said every time they've gone by that lawn area in front, it's never used, because I've lived in town for more than 35 years, and I've never seen anybody doing anything on that lawn area the entire time. So you have to understand the constraints on what we can do. However, on the other hand, if there are things that are not in compliance with the zoning bylaw, and we identified a couple of them, they need to figure out how to get in compliance, or they don't go ahead. And if there are things where we have an option about whether to say yes or no, and an example is a reduction in the amount of parking that's required, we have to decide whether we're going to say yes or no to the reduction in parking. But the things that aren't our option like that, as long as they meet all the zoning bylaw, they're allowed to go ahead. So one of the interesting things, and we haven't come to this before, is 6.1.11D6 of the zoning bylaw. This is new. It was just put into place last year, and the purpose was to shade new parking lots so that they wouldn't become little heat islands. And the idea was if somebody's providing more than 25 parking spaces or expanding parking to be more than 25 parking spaces, then they have to have a certain number of trees in a certain number of places in order to shade the parking lot, or they can put a solar array over the parking lot to shade the parking lot. It's interesting because I don't think any of us thought about, what about this situation where somebody's taking an existing parking lot and repurposing it so it's going to be used for many more units than it's used for now, and in addition, adding 12 or 10 more parking spaces. So I don't know whether we would apply 6.1.11D6 or decide it doesn't apply in this instance, but I would hope, even if we decide it doesn't, that the project proponents would take a look at it and see if they can include some more trees in those areas. So I'll see what the board has to say.
I think that this is one of many cases where 6.1.11 D6 is not appropriate, and that's why I did not support it when it originally was proposed to go through.
Okay. Anyone else?
I feel the same way. When we talked about this, we specifically said, I asked this question, if we're just taking an existing paved parking lot and we're not touching it, it doesn't qualify. If we're only adding parking, only what is added would be the number that is counted toward that goal. And I was told that that's what it was, that was their understanding of this.
I'm going to have, well, rather than attempt to respond on the spot, I'm going to do my homework and look at it later.
Yeah, I don't
Because I
think-
had not contemplated this one.
Yeah, I don't think we have to decide today. I
No,
think
no.
it's just something to look at. I should just mention that these were 2 or 3 separate lots that have now been combined into one lot. So we will have to authorize them to have 2 separate driveways when we finally decide to allow this. And I am going to have a conversation with town council about what business services means, because he only had the knowledge of counsel for the project proponent, and he needs to hear the other point of view about that.
I would welcome that, Dean. Steve?
Yeah, I think I think from, sort of the two main, or the two big rocks to put in first are the handling of the bonus provisions, whether you will, whether the first story is altered in a way that you get the required 60%, or the building is changed, or you move things around so that, basically removing the commercial space. I hope this doesn't, devolve into a case where you end up using this process for 17 Newman and a comprehensive permit for 840 Mass Ave. I would not want to see HCA put through that. So I'm hoping the revisions aren't too terrible. The other is the TDM plan. I like Mr. Benson's suggestion of a few cargo bike spaces. We had talked about what would qualify as extra bicycle parking spaces, for TDM, in addition to what is already required. I seem to remember kicking around the idea of 1 extra bike space per auto space reduced, but I don't know if we ever actually settled on that. But if that's not, if you go through a different TDM measure, that's not going to be an issue. Overall, I think those are the 2 big ones, and aside from that, it's not the only. There are some little details to get through, but I don't think they'll be insurmountable.
Shana?
Yep, so regarding landscaping in parking lots, I looked at this afternoon. I think it's not applicable here, mainly because I see them as essentially 2 physically distinct lots, and the larger lot is not being touched, and the new lot is smaller. So your point about the driveways is well taken, and so we'll have to address that, and the setbacks needs to be, of course, resolved as well, and just interested to see how they do that, but but I think those are the big things I had flagged.
I think those are big things. I'd add small thing, they have to do the correct solar assessment for us.
Oh, I have a whole list. I can go through that.
We'll get to that. Steve?
And just for clarification, in terms of the upper story step back, if they do end up going with the affordable housing bonus, they'd need 15 feet from the street, and then the 7.5 feet in addition to that?
Nope.
No, it's from the property line, so they meet it right now.
So they can go straight up.
So they could go straight up, okay.
I would hope that they would continue to think about articulation like they have now, but yes, technically they.
Yes.
Can I?
Can you go through your list and form it in the fashion of a motion to continue this with the following things, or do you think we still need to discuss more things?
I just had one question. It's not something that they need to answer now, but it's related to trying to make a decision regarding the TDM and whether or not that is enough or how much to reduce the parking to, if you don't mind. And that's just a question as to the parking usage on other HCA properties. What might be helpful. I went through, I don't remember seeing that in the materials that you provided, but that might be helpful context for us. Thank you. I don't know if the other board members would find that helpful, but I would.
That'd be
as
very
we're trying
helpful.
to understand that.
All your projects, just state how many units and how many spaces are taken.
And demand versus supply, et cetera. Okay. Perfect, thank
Your
you.
project on Park Ave is a good example.
Great, okay. So the list that I have of items to be reviewed is the setback requirement, given the ground floor commercial use percentage. A few, but not all of the board members have given you some feedback on the facade of the main building at the corner of Mass Ave and Newman Way. There was a comment about providing a sign band for commercial property, articulation, looking at cornice hierarchy between the area, the roof at the step back versus the upper roof. There was a question about screening for the rooftop units. There was a request for a exterior lighting plan, and ask for an emphasis on the commercial entry so that it was clear where the entry was. At Newman Way, I'm sorry. The next item was the TDM plan, so to ensure that you had a plan that met the criteria, and then we just talked about other resources that might be helpful to put that in context regarding other HCA properties. The number of electric bike charging stations, to take a look at that, is related to the TDM plan. Ensuring that you meet the solar requirements by completing the full solar system assessment. Ensuring that you speak with the tree warden about the approved list of trees. And I would say that would include whether or not there are trees that could be integrated where the current power line. Again, we just want to make sure that there, if there is a way to include public trees in the public way there on Newman Way, that we've reviewed fully whether or not that's a possibility, to address snow removal, to provide a detail of the bike racks, to indicate fencing on the side lot lines and type, to review the calculation for the on page 2 of your drawing package, and I believe that was everything. Did I miss?
Stormwater.
And stormwater, yes.
Stormwater is mentioned.
It was during construction stormwater. What Shana had asked about was the actual stormwater retention plan for operations.
I think good job. Do we have a motion?
Is there a motion? Could I make a motion?
Sure.
Could I propose a motion to continue, well, we need to pick a date
Let's pick a date.
to
Okay.
continue the hearing to.
So currently, we are booked up clearly in February. March is a little better. I could offer, March 9th seems quick, March 16th or March 23rd. March 9th is okay.
That give you enough time to address all the issues?
Yeah.
And you have to have things to us a week ahead of time.
Oh.
What?
March 9th may not work on our end. March 16th would be better. We have warrant article hearings for our citizen articles on the 9th.
I heard there's a lot, so yeah, if you don't mind.
That would be better.
The materials will be due on the 9th, is that right?
The materials are due February 23rd, but we can certainly talk that through.
No, if it's March 16th.
No.
Oh, for March 16th? March 2nd.
So I'd make a motion to continue the public hearing to the evening of March 9th.
16th.
16th, I'm sorry,
2026.
March 16th.
Do I have a second on that?
Second,
Steve?
Yes?
Jean?
yes.
Shane?
Yes.
Rachel?
Yes.
I'm a yes too. Thank you very much for your complete thing.
Thank you.
We still have one more meeting coming up. If you're going to leave, please leave quietly or quickly. Thank you. We have to pause? Okay, we're off to our next hearing. For docket 3882, 1398 Mass Ave, special permit hearing continued from January 26th. Are the proponents here? Claire, do you want to introduce the
Sure,
project?
yeah. So this is an application filed by Tyler Toombs, which is TT Group Arlington Incorporated. The applicant proposes a change of use and interior fit-out at the property located at 1398 Mass Ave. The proposal is for a fast-order food restaurant in the B3 Village District, which requires a special permit. A total of 3 parking spaces are required for the new use, and on-site parking is available.
All right. Go ahead.
Good
Introduce
evening,
yourself,
Mike.
please.
My name is Jeff DeLuca. I'm from GRA Design Studio, the architectural firm designing for the interior tenant fit-out portion only. Tyler Toombs, our restaurant franchisee, is here, and I'm also accompanied with Brenda Basilone from GRA Design Studio. According to the table of use in section 5.53 of the zoning regulation, we seem to just, I would argue by a hair, trigger the need for a special permit. Anything of 1,500 square feet or greater would require, for fast food use, would require a special permit. We are at 1781 of usable square footage, so we're just a little bit over, a little less than 300 square feet over the parking requirements for there's 45 spots. It's 2 lots next to each other that are have a shared driveway, and we have 45 spots on our side. There's a dumpster in the back. Existing uses at the location are urgent care facility, a Japanese restaurant, and a massage envy, if that's current. We would be taking over the vacant European Wax Center location, and we feel that because of the minimal amount of the square overage, of square footage. We're requesting humbly before the board tonight that we be granted the special permit. We would meet the parking requirements, and I understand that you had some operational questions, et cetera, so without any further ado, I'll ask you where you would like to take it.
I just want to make a clarification. On your application, you state that this is just for the permit itself for the fit out, but not for the signage, but then you include the signage package. So is this, which is it?
Well, this is for the use. We in our research, we just, in our due diligence leading up to the application process, it was recommended that we might include the signage anyway, just in case there might be any variances or overages of the signage. That was not the case. We received a confirmation from our signage company that everything would be falling within the zoning regulations. Signage is permitted under a separate application by a separate design company. We're not involved with that, but we provided it in case you wanted to look at it.
So,
to be thorough.
For our approval, is just for the fit out only, then, what you said?
Fit out only, exactly.
It is not for signage.
No, just the special permit for the use is what we're requesting tonight.
Jersey Mike will be coming back for us for signage approval.
Yeah, I have a separate signage vendor who will come before y'all.
Thank you very much. I just want to make sure that's clear. It was a little confusing on my part. All right.
Is the signage required also to have, is the signage also required to appear before the redevelopment board?
That's our choice, yes.
Okay, okay.
If it doesn't meet the signage requirements, so for example, you have a visible raceway right now, which is not permitted.
Okay.
So you would need to come in front of us if you wanted to receive approval on the visible raceway, for example. Otherwise, you would need individually lit letters.
But if you met the requirements, you would just get approval from the department and would not need to come before the redevelopment.
That's correct.
The raceway cabinet is not allowed.
Understood. If we were to present that administratively, would we be able to do that under this application to satisfy the requirements?
You don't have, you would have to come back. You don't have things like we require dimensions for, how far, where it's located within the sign band, how far from the edges of the building. So we'd have to continue your hearing tonight. If some people do ask that we review them together.
Okay.
And we could do that, but we'd have to continue your hearing for this evening.
We'll deal with the signage at a later date.
That's my best guess, is for you guys to come back with full package, and if it qualifies and doesn't need any approvals, then it'll be done administratively, and it could happen, okay?
Okay.
But make sure you deal with that raceway.
But if you're asking for some sort of approval, then it would come before us, okay? And that's quite a few weeks out, okay? And so that's not money. We just a quick side note, I think the sign's a little large too, okay?
Yeah.
Besides the raceway, as far as proportion and square footage, but I couldn't really tell this.
It's less than 40 square feet, so it's meets
I
that
couldn't tell by, there's no dimensions,
Yeah,
but.
the dimension. It's less than 40 square feet. It's not clear where it fits on the.
Yes.
on the
But let's
surface.
okay.
Shouldn't have included it.
Sorry.
Rachel, you want?
Back to the use permit.
Rachel?
My comments were on the signage, so I'll pass to Shana.
Apart from the signage, I was not sure that you met the bike parking requirements. I thought, I think you need 2 short-term spaces. You need to find somewhere for a bike rack serving two bicycles, and a long-term space which would need to be enclosed somewhere, so either inside or in a shed or something like that. And my colleagues can correct me if I'm wrong about that. And so that was the only thing I had apart from signage.
G?
I had the same issues. I just wondered, where are the 45 parking spaces?
They're in the rear of the building.
Up,
The building sits on Mass Ave.
right, entered to the left of the
To-
building or to the right?
To the left.
To the left. Do you share that parking lot with all of the other businesses over there?
It's shared parking.
So the 45 are shared spaces? Do you know how many spaces are currently used on a regular basis?
For each business, we can get you that information.
Yeah, I was just wondering about that. It's sort of, so here's my concern. There's no parking right in front of the building.
There are 2 street parking
Not right,
a
not
little
in,
further down.
right, not right in.
Not in
right
front of the specific unit,
Right,
correct.
in front of the specific unit, there's no parking whatsoever. So if I were going to approve this, I would want a sign on the front directing people to your parking lot, because they may not know it's your parking lot, and something on your website when you put it up telling people where to park and they can't park in front. What do you anticipate as the daily number of customers you would need to make this a viable location for you?
I can do some quick math.
Great, thank you. While you're doing the math, I had no idea what Jersey Mike's was. I've seen them around, but I had no idea, so thank you for filling me in on what they are.
We would need,
on the property already, of that existing bike rack we could use, or we could add an additional one?
Can he answer the question first?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tyler.
yeah, in terms of rent and in terms of break-even cost, we would need about 30 customers a day.
Only 30?
Yeah.
How many do you anticipate or hope to have?
We hope to have northwards of 80.
And how do you think they'd get there?
This is a little different than, I have 9 other Jersey Mike's locations.
Mhm.
They're more suburban than this one.
Those are the ones I've seen.
So to compare this location, the most similar in the area would be the Brighton, Massachusetts Jersey Mike's location, which is owned by a different franchisee. Since his is so urban and more dense than my typical stores and more similar to this, about 40% of his customers are walk-in. They walk through the door, and then 60% are online. That online breaks down where it's like 20% ordering through the Jersey Mike's app, or 20 to 30% through the Jersey Mike's app, and then the balance would be the third-party apps, which is like Grubhub, DoorDash, and Uber Eats.
So tell me why I should not be concerned about this. At that point, Mass Ave in that direction is basically one lane. And every time I see Uber Eats and DoorDash folks, they just double park,
Yeah.
right? So what are you going to do to prevent them from double parking right outside your restaurant and blocking traffic?
So 2 weeks ago, I got the same question in
Oh,
the city
good.
of Waltham.
All right, good.
And we kind of chased ourselves around figuring out what we could do. And what we can do is in those apps, Grubhub, DoorDash, and Uber Eats, there are pickup instructions that the dashers have to follow. And if they don't follow them, they get banned from the platform. And so I can put instructions that say park in the rear, don't double park. Any instructions you would like for to be in there, we can put in there.
So that would be in those, and also on the app for people who are not using one of the delivery services?
Yeah, and then when you
people
order
can
through,
say-
like you pick up your phone, order through the Jersey Mike's app, it'll say parking in rear.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do not park in front of the building?
Correct.
Or in front of the store?
Yep.
Okay. I think that would be helpful.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else, Gene?
Nope, that's it.
Steve?
Out of, what made you want to come to Arlington? I ask every new business, so it's nothing personal, because I'm just curious.
Yeah, I live in downtown Boston, and it's geographically close to where I live, so it makes my commute much better.
Mm-hmm.
My furthest store is in Gardner, Mass, so that's about an hour and 15 minutes.
That's a haul, yep.
Which is a hike when I go there. A couple of my friends live in Arlington. I've lived in Massachusetts now for 11, 12 years. They speak to how much they love it here. And I'm in the market for a house in the burbs because I got a dog. So Arlington is one of those towns I'm looking at.
Yeah, okay. Now, as far as the parking goes, with the space that you're replacing would have had a parking requirement of 5 spaces. So it's for a personal service establishment, it's 300, one space per 300 spaces, per 300 square feet of space. So, and since you only need 2, this is, you probably, since the demand went down, you probably need it. One thing that you might consider and talk to the landlord is if a few, maybe 1 or 2 of the parking spaces, say along the side, near to the curb cut, if they could be sort of, if you can get them as dedicated, pickup only kind of things, just so that people who are picking up can have a place to get in, get out, and, there's not, circling the parking lot kind of thing. Regarding bike spaces, I agree with Ms. Corman-Houston. The bylaw does require 1 long-term space and 2 short-term spaces. The plan from 1996 does show 4 spaces in the sort of lower left-hand corner, I believe, but I went out there this weekend on a bicycle, and I could not find them. So they were probably there 20 years ago, but they're not there now. So again, if this is something that we adopted the the bike parking requirements as a way to make bicycle parking more convenient, with the hopes that people would use that as a substitute for automobile trips. So yeah, you will need to find a place to have 2 short-term spaces. That's all I have.
Let me follow up with that for a minute. I too went out there. There is a bicycle parking spot on the street, right outside your store. That's part of Arlington's bicycle parking. It's a loop. It's a hoop. Okay, that's right outside your store. So that counts as, I think that would count as your short-term, as far as I'm concerned. Okay. And also there's 8 across the street at the bicycle, 8 at the bus turnaround. Okay, so I think your short term is adequately satisfies my concerns, okay? I'll let the board decide how they want to interpret that. But Shane is correct. You do need a a long term for your employees or something like that somewhere in your store or enclosed somehow, okay?
Gene, I'm looking at the street view and I just don't see it. Where's that short term?
It's right outside the street. It's right next to the planters.
Okay.
I walked it
Probably
this
just hidden by the
I walked by this morning and it was there. It's buried in snow, but it's there.
Perfect. It's probably just hidden by the planter in this picture.
It's between the planters.
Cool.
So I could put a
Awesome.
bike rack in the behind the house, area,
In your work, somewhere
and that would count.
somewhere inside. No, it has to be inside.
Yeah.
Or enclosed.
Yeah. Sorry, back of house, where the shelves are, essentially, in the store.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Easy.
Just so in case you have an employee that
Yeah.
wants to ride a bicycle there, they have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah.
That was my concern there. And then you'll do the signage later, so we'll talk about that later, okay?
Did you need to see the bike on the designs? Or did...
I'm going to rely on your word and you giving us the,
Add it as a special condition.
yeah, we'll have it in special conditions, and then if you don't follow it, then we'll come back and reopen it, okay? But I'm not going to have you come back and just for a bicycle parking spot that, I know you guys are coming up from Jersey, or are you from Jersey?
2 of us came from Jersey and...
Okay, so, I'm not gonna require you guys to come all the way back up here again, okay? You guys didn't make it up for the storm, did you?
We were rescheduled from last week, so we were so grateful to learn that I told Tyler as long as the meeting was there, we'd be there, even if we had to go Balto and do it all.
Okay. No, I have no other questions. Anyone else, any other questions? Gene?
I don't have a question, but just a suggestion and I don't know if you've thought about this, talking to the town about putting some tables and chairs outside in the summer. For example, Dell's Lemonade does that. And all during the summer, folks are all
Yeah.
out there. So,
Would love to.
you know, this is just a suggestion, you don't have to do it, but I think it would be a good idea to talk to the town about the possibility of doing that.
While we're on that same thing, we also have Town Day. And there's little booths that happens in the, they closed down Mass Ave. It's like.
Not your part, but in the center.
About 4 or 5 blocks. And everybody, you know, some restaurants do go and open stuff there, and it might be a good introduction to, you know, Jersey Mike's.
Yeah, I do that in a lot of towns that I'm in, so that's a great
So
opportunity.
just a suggestion, okay?
Yeah.
I just filled in the survey today, so that's why I'm hearing all this stuff here. So do I hear a motion, please?
Do we need to do public comment?
No.
Okay, sorry. Okay, is there any public comment on this? Seeing there's none, I'm closed public comment.
Sorry, just procedurally.
Nope, it's done. Thank you. I'm new to this, too. This is my first day. Do we have a motion here, please?
So we need to add a couple special conditions.
Yep.
Right. So the special conditions would be that they add to the apps for the delivery service and to their app and on their website that where the parking is and not to park in front of the store, that they put a sign on the front that directs to where the parking is, that they ask the landlord if the landlord can designate a certain number of spots in the parking lot as short-term pickup spots, and that they have to put one long-term bicycle parking space inside, covered inside the facility for an employee who wants to use it.
And that they do a separate sign permit. This, we're not approving the signage tonight.
So moved.
Second?
Steve?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Shayna?
Yes.
Rachel?
Yes.
I'm a yes, too. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Okay?
Thank you very much.
So you'll get something in the mail in about 3 or 4 weeks, which will be the permit.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Have a great evening.
Thank you, thanks for waiting.
All right, the next topic is open forum. Does anybody in the public want to speak? Seeing none, I'm going to close open forum. And next is new business. Anybody have any new business? Well,
I have one item of new business, and that is a proposed ARB hearing schedule for 2026 annual town meeting. Folks can take a look at that. Marisa Lau put it together, and we included it as part of new business for your reference. Thank you.
do we need to approve that today?
So I have, as I mentioned earlier, the 23rd is a challenge for me, and
Do we have a hearing on that date?
We
yeah,
do, February 23rd.
and so the 16th is fine for me, the 2nd is fine for me, but I have a flight that arrives at 7:15 on the 23rd.
March or February, Shayna? I'm sorry.
February.
Or February, okay.
Yep,
What hearing is that?
the first one.
The first one?
Is February 23rd. We were going to be hearing warrant articles, warrant article hearing number 1 for ARB articles, and 2 project hearings, and a presentation.
Do we need a full board here? Or I'm a little concerned. Gene, when's your last day?
Next week, next Monday,
So we won't have a
February
quorum.
9.
So we're not going to have a quorum, do we?
So the earliest that we could have a new member seated is the 23rd of February. So that may be that person's first meeting.
Okay. So if you can't make that meeting, which I'm not saying you have, you know,
Well, you still have 3 people, that's all you need.
no, that's not a quorum.
Yes,
Well,
it
it
is.
depends on whether it's a special permit or a,
Yeah, for a
site
warrant
plan.
article, you only need 3 people.
well, we don't have to vote anyway on the warrant, or it's, but there is a hearing that night. I just don't know whether it.
There's 2 hearings that night.
I will be literally getting off an airplane.
Yeah,
My
so-
flight was supposed to get in earlier
Can we
and it
change
got
that date
changed.
to another date?
We can,
How's that work for you, Richard? You're the one that's,
Well, I can't do the 2nd. I will not be.
it's 2 site plan review.
Well, site plan review only needs 3 people.
Technically, we could
And
still
they are
do it on the 23rd.
both projects that are continued to that date. There's nothing new.
You could do 3 people.
We could do 3 people.
this is the 9th,
23rd.
23rd.
23rd of February. Tonight's the 9th, I think. No, next week's the 9th.
Okay. Is that okay with everybody else?
When you and Steve and I would,
I mean, if.
I mean, if we need to move forward, we would just have to do it with 3 people.
Okay.
anyway.
And if those other meetings are continued, if you don't mind just watching on the
Yeah,
ACMi?
yep. I watched the one and confirming I have watched the one that I missed when I was
When that next one comes up,
Yep, I'm gonna,
if you
yep,
can,
I'm gonna
if you
watch
can
that.
state that
Yep,
you watched
yep,
the results from the other
Yep.
meeting, and that gives you to
the ability
participate.
to vote, yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So,
2:59.
yep. And the 9th is Jean's last, right? Can you add to the agenda on the 9th at the end? Are you okay if we take you out for a drink, Jean?
Are we putting that on the agenda?
You have to.
You can take me out for a non-alcoholic drink, yes. Thank
Okay,
very
you
much.
have to,
And-
there's more than 3 of us.
And,
This is on the 9th of,
and I have to make, I want
March
to make
9th,
my
9th
goodbye
of
speech
February.
too.
Okay. But we have to, because there's more than 3 of us.
We're doing public notice that we're taking Jean out.
No, I don't
Love it.
think we need to actually public
We've
notice.
done that in the past.
Well, I don't know.
It'll be like we adjourn to tryst,
Yes.
or something like that.
Right.
gotta keep us on schedule.
Okay, so I'm a little behind today, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Okay.
so then we have the 9th of March, the 16th.
The rest of these are fine for me.
Okay.
I'm sorry, my,
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Wait, new business.
Any more
I thought we're done.
No,
Oh, I'm
Steve has
sorry.
new business.
Oh,
He has his new business smile on.
It's short.
I apologize, Steve, sorry.
No worries. One of the things that in my weekly perusal of the Warren Group's listing of real estate transactions, I've seen that 1025 Mass Ave, the Majestic, they've been selling quite a few. I think there were 9 this week and 10 the week previously. So it's the condos appear to be moving, and this makes me happy.
Steve, I was told that almost all the units are sold, but, because I know somebody moving in, and they're sort of staggering when people move in, so they don't have everybody move in at the same time. Yeah. And my new business is not new, but, you know, I'm going to step off the comprehensive plan committee too, as long as I'm stepping off the board, so I can have some space from all board sorts of things. So Steve is still on it, so I'm not, you know, if the board wanted to appoint someone else, they could, but I am saying goodbye to the comprehensive plan committee.
Well, we thank you very much for your service.
Although I'm going to write Claire one more email with all, with all of the changes I think are required to the goals and the strategies
Yes.
and et cetera.
She's looking forward to that.
No, she's not.
She tells them that weekly. Jana?
So the development at the corner of Mass Ave and Lake, I'm just wondering, they haven't, I don't think, done any work since before Christmas, and I'm just wondering if they're still working. That's all. So,
We'll have to get you an update on that project. I can check in with Mike Ciampa about how they're moving forward. I know they got the demo done, and I'm not really sure what else, what they're
Could be
up to now.
the weather too.
it could be the weather.
Could also be
yeah.
the weather.
They demoed the building and they left their equipment there and some debris there and just sort of have been hanging out. Everything's just been sitting there since before Christmas.
Oh, I have a
We'll get you an
weather-related,
update, Shana.
I have a weather-related thing I forgot about. The only place that I saw in all my walks that hasn't taken the snow off the sidewalk is the former Atwood House. So I don't know if you
All
want to
right.
reach out to our favorite people there.
I can follow up with them, yeah. I can.
It's the same company that does
Secretary.
snow removal for CBS.
I know, but that's the only sidewalk
Yeah,
that's.
you're right.
All right.
You clearly don't live in my neighborhood.
Well, on this end.
And I have one,
Sure.
one other thing too. Farina Roofing, can we, so they took down the plumbing company sign. Can they take down the no trespassing signs, please? Thank you.
That's new.
Those are new since the
Yes.
plumbing company sign. Yeah, I walked by that on my
When they took the other sign down, they put that
way to
sign
get
up.
my hair cut this weekend and was not amused.
Sarah, while you're talking to them, could you see if they're interested in putting up some scrim on the fencing on that project on Mass Ave and Lake?
Anything in particular?
Just green. There's usually a green mesh that goes along the chain link fence, so you can't
City
look
of
in.
Boston requires scrim to be green now because, you know, it's environmentally sensitive.
Is that
We-
required, or am I asking?
We don't have a requirement for that, okay? But you have such a great relationship with them that I'm asking you to see if you see you can put that up, because it looks ugly. It's an eyesore. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Second.
Steve?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Shayna?
Yes.
Rachel?
Yes.
I am a yes too. So meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.